Hey, we are back today. We hopefully have an action-packed hangout today. We're going to be, well, Santos will be here shortly. We've got David Geometia with us today. And then in a short while, Josh X and Charlie Freak are joining in on this conversation. Santos should have been here, but he got stuck in traffic. But anyway, we're here with David. David, over to you.
Hello, thank you. Good evening.
Oh, sorry, Patricia's here. Willow.
Finally, Karen.
Willow.
About me. Don't start with Willow again. It's all right.
Patricia wants to call. If she could choose a name and be any name she wanted to be, it would be Willow.
And why is that then? Do you want to explain that before? You can't just drop that and then move on.
Oh, right. Sorry, David. I explained it the other day. It's just that I've always liked willow trees. And I was sat here one day thinking, I could, because we know that the name we're given is not it's not us. We were given it. So the thing was, I wanted to pick my own name, and I thought Willow. There you go. That's it.
Well, I'll get Josh to examine that later then, with the.
No.
Oh,
don't want to split my name.
Yeah, all right, maybe not. Sorry.
I'm joking.
Okay, Willow. Patricia, Willow. Thank you, Willow.
At least it's not Pussy Willow.
Patricia.
No, because I'm just saying, because people say, Pussy Willow. P for Patricia. Pussy Willow. Anyway.
Okay, Patricia. David, do you want to just explain? Go on then, explain what you want to happen today on this hangout.
Well, the idea is for everybody, what we're doing is I'd like to go through 8,000 years of history, not point for point, but period, dynasty, civilization, or political timelines as we see them with Santos there, because I'd like to get to the point of the future where we're going to have this Christ-like consciousness, Jesus, Messiah, Savior, all known established major religions and bonded mans, the priests and the cardinals to be covered, the Jesuits, up to the point of zero. And then when we get to zero, we would slow down a bit here and examine the crusade fiction, the world's greatest story, what this Old Testament or New Testament KJV relevance is, and then slow down with the Justinian period into where he brought, Santos has brought us, the fam, the names, antiquities, pre-Christian antiquities, writers and scholars that will go through there. And this is going to be quite some feat, to be fair. And then these antiquities, zero, Constantine, Josephus, Joseph at will, the lineages, the empires, and then furthermore to the writings of the Gospels of the books. We've got Assyrian text, Dead Sea Scrolls. There's lots to go through, including, not in this order, the Enuma Elish, Battle of Gilgamesh. The Bible itself has got archangels in it. If you swap the word archangel for alien, let's just go and do that and put it out there. It becomes a whole new story. Chariots of fire going up to heaven, discs seen by prophets, Abraham and I believe Moses, and stories, lost books of, and this is not all now tonight, but you ask. So it's going to come to a point where we have to now recognize the digital download, the waterfall of Aquarius, the light that we're in. We've got too much information, a lot to to look and examine at. So I have prepared a timeline and some documents for us, which are going to help me and you keep the continuum of philosophy and religion and civilization and science. And I have actually on my laptop now 2 documents of hundreds of pages long that I've created specifically for this chat. We're not going to go through them all now in its entirety, but they will be available for download from our private domain. I'm not here to advertise that. It's not about me and the domain. It's about man and the future, souls, bonds, and the Christ-like consciousness. And so they will be available. There's a lot of data here, and we will be doing a continuum of this. But then, we're going to go to zodiacs, all right, because ISIS is one of the, now when I say this, Egyptian ISIS, there's your cognitive dissonance, all right, because of what ISIS has brought to you in the news. Osiris and the constellation, who created what, allegedly. Egyptians, archaeology, mainstream academia will tell you that Cheops is a builder of the pyramids and when they're from. But if you look at Sept, Horus, Osiris, and etc., you will find stories massively, you know, is that Santos? So I'll just be quiet a minute.
Hey,
Yeah, I'm here.
Santos. Well done,
Yeah.
Santos.
Ah,
What happened there then?
finally got home.
Oh, he went down the wrong road, did he, the taxi man?
Yeah, we did. It was hectic.
Anyway, I'm really glad that you joined us, Santos. Thank you very much for being here. We appreciate your time, as I know that you're away and everything, you know, like coming on a little hangout with us. But anyway, obviously here is Patricia and David, and joining will be Josh and Charlie, who you know very well. David?
Brilliant, excellent, much love and blessings. Thank you, brother. I'm glad to see you've made it and that your taxi man did his job. I hope it wasn't an Uber, not to advertise, but sorry, or a wireless one.
Mm-hmm.
Well, very quickly, how are you, Santos?
Pretty good. I'm struggling a little bit with tiredness. It's been hectic and I haven't had good sleep, so I'm really tired, that's all.
Yeah, it feels really strange that you're in America and we're talking to you there, all the times in Australia, and now you're sitting there with all these American people in the taxi that we heard. Yeah, you've been away. You obviously enjoyed your trip away. Another trip somewhere, didn't you? You had a good time.
Yep, went to Costa Rica and then Nicaragua, and now I'm in Miami. So after this, I'll go to Oregon.
Wow.
Right. So you're quite traveling a lot then, really. You enjoying yourself?
I am, but it's tiring, that's all. But it's very exciting. I'm learning a lot. I'm seeing a lot and definitely enjoying it. But I want to settle. So I think after Oregon, do a few presentations there and then go to Nicaragua and just settle there for a while. Just relax, try to build up my health and just enjoy my life and rest. I need a rest.
I've seen you've got a new picture up on your Facebook. It's a nice picture of you, Santos.
Yeah, the old one was not doing it for me. It was from a time that was not a really good time in my life. So this was when I was in America, in San Francisco. I was feeling good, and I think I want to just
I know
project.
you look quite trendy, Santos, with that hat on.
Yeah, I guess so. I like my beanie. Yep. I like my beanies.
Stylish, what you meant, stylish, styling it on.
Well, he just looks, I don't know, he just looks 10 years younger, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You look good, Santos, so I'm really pleased about that.
Thanks, Karen.
That's all right. Yeah. Sorry, David wanted you to, David, back over to you.
Yes, I'm happy to see, I'm ecstatic. We are over here on the UK Anglo Terra Firma. You know, you've got love and following over here, brother. So again, from me, yeah, whatever you're doing, keep it up, and thank you for joining. And we know your time is limited, and if it's any constellation, I'm on the night shift, you know that. I'll let you know. And I've had family issues and crossing over to nocturnal time. I think I went to bed. I was planning today and getting some timelines ready. I went to bed at 1 p.m, up at 6 p.m. So I'm a little bit like yourself there. So it's just relaxed, informal chat, and just to have you to bounce some ideas off. You can step in when you want to, and I'll ask you as well. But why we've
Yes, Santos, you have permission to speak when you want, okay? You're quite quiet last time, and I've never heard you so quiet, Santos. And I played back the video because obviously I uploaded it, and you said nobody asked me to talk, but I did. I asked you to talk. But anyway, back over to you, David.
Yeah, we need. I was just explaining where we're going to go and why, and I'll just encapsulate again. We're not going to individually, specifically go over each period and dynasty, brother, but you've taught us quite a lot. You know, we can't thank you enough for the outlay of the content. So I have got a thread in philosophy and religion, and then civilization and science, and it's just I'm going to be looking at moving to the private with regards to the Christ-like consciousness, and we've got a lot to bring, and I'd like to, over the course of this, I don't know, 2 hours or hour and a half, however long we have. This is the outline to bring to the point of Santos has unique philosophy and gnosis, not just from the pre-Christian and the antiquities and the scholars therein. That Josephus in itself was massive, Santos, for my line of work, and the Roman Justinian. But to get to that, and the legalese, you're quite renowned. That's where I got a lot from as well, and seeing you outside the courts and what you've done there. So the legalese to bring into it, and the Justinian after the pre-Christian and the gnosis is there. We'll skim across the eras, and we can go into detail as much you want. Egypt plays a key part. I did cover Princess of Scotia, the banished Nubian princess with the red hair, going over to Scotland before it was Scotland, and the DNA, Egyptian DNA over here. And then we've got the planets. You see, Santos has got the lockdown on this is where it's a change with the digital age and the information and the consciousness. The planets, we've lost touch with the planets. We have chocolate bars and galaxies and Milky Ways and Mars confectionery, but we've lost the connection there, and these bodies are very important. So with regards to Egypt, Osiris and Horus and Sept and these statues, Mary and Jesus there, Osiris, Horus, this connection, it's massive again. Waterfalls, water under the pyramids, and special things there that have been kept secret that I've found in my studies. And then if Santos can link the astro, the God part, which we're lacking massively, it will help. It's got a point. It's a big continuum, and that would lead into the toroidal houses. Again, the energy that we're looking at. So that sounds a lot and complicated, but Santos has it all inside. We have a rough documentation here, and we need help. The bottom line is, and this isn't my job, it's our job, and the God head and the knowledge is in all of us, and with a few of us as we are now to help bring this, I'd like to try and inspire and bring hope back to all the family across the realm with a true meaning of where we're at and where we're going. This time, this year, 2019, I don't know about you, Santos, I'm wrapping up, but it seems critical where we're at. I'm not trying to pretend to be something that I'm not, but the timing, the uncertainty everywhere, in all of the social areas. You're in a big land there. I'd like to know how America is and what feedback you're getting there and how they seem to be. And it seems that we have a job to do, and if we can do this over the course of a few hangouts like this, with this timeline, with that kind of thread leading up to the gnosis of the digital age of Aquarius at 2020 vision, this would be incredible. I yield.
Yeah, for sure. America's doing pretty good, really. I'm finding. I haven't seen a lot of the problems that people are talking about here. I've been on the West Coast and now on the East Coast, so it's looking pretty good. Nicaragua was great. There is unrest. They are, expecting things politically, I think, in Nicaragua, seeing what's happening in Chile and Bolivia at the moment, and even Mexico. So, but in America, things look pretty stable, to be honest. I don't see a lot of homelessness. Maybe I haven't been to the right areas. I see good, clean towns, happy people. It's pretty thriving at the moment. I don't see any problems with the economy, really. But, that's just the image I've been getting. I've been here for 3 months now. This is my second time round. I have a 1-year visa, so ESTA visa, so I'll be going in and out every 3 months. I have to. So it's looking pretty good, but underlying, there's always...
Oh, is that why you have to leave America then, Santos? So you mean as long as you leave every 3 months and then come back, your visa will be all right?
Yeah, yep, do a visa run.
Madness.
I did, well, they're lying, aren't they, about most things, because you know they just are about people fighting. The whole thing, most of it's lies.
Yeah, it's not happening. I mean, it is. There is that, but it's not to the degree they're saying. It definitely is not. You know, it's underlying. The people are still quite awakened, I think, even though the masses are not. But there is an awakened component, and they do not take shit. You know, people here are very, very aware of their sovereignty. I think that's what I found. I found that people are quite advanced in that area in America. So it still has that spirit, the American spirit. And I don't think the governments and their oppression are going to have it as easy as they think they are. You know, the elite and their oppressive system, even though they keep tightening the screws here and there and keep implementing certain things, I think when it comes to the crunch, people power will win the day. That's what I feel. I can sense that strongly. Hopefully I'm not wrong. You know, I am very hopeful. I've always been rather hopeful and waiting and hoping for something great. I've never, you know, put my hands down and just given up. I've never had that attitude, even though personally maybe I have, you know, maybe I do and get frustrated and perhaps don't have as much faith in myself as in the universe and it's going to be good. So yeah, I just try and keep positive, and I see the positive, I guess. It's probably the best way to take life on if you're going to succeed. But definitely there are better places than America to live. Like Nicaragua was an eye-opener. Costa Rica was as well, but Nicaragua is probably the best place I've ever been to. It's the people are very, very good and quite sovereign, and they don't take any shit. So last year when or about 3 years ago, when I think it was Barack Obama or someone was trying to get the pensions off the Nicaraguans. Yeah, they just revolted in the streets, and it didn't happen. It was an American intervention. That's what they say in Nicaragua. The Americans tried to steal some money from Nicaragua and failed. The people rose and took to the streets. There was a little blood.
Yeah, you can't do that here anymore, because over here the law is if more than 3 people is called a crowd, and then that's rioting, and police can come in and break it up.
I know. Yeah, it's not very good. Doesn't give you much of a chance, does it?
But you know, so I know that this is David's hangout. I don't want to say very much, but I did notice something. You know, I worked out that you have to take their figures, unfortunately, but we've got an election coming up, and they only say about, when they give you the figures, 35–40% of the people vote, and half of those don't vote for the person that's in. So on a very small percentage is making all our law.
Yeah.
And I just think and you know, 80% of the people don't vote, really, because that's what it is, and there's something wrong. And I just wish that you could have on a ballot paper, I'm voting, but not for them. And I think that you'd see millions put in a box, I'm voting, but not for them.
Yeah.
But it's not going to happen, is it? Because they're hiding all that and covering it all up, and everything's a lie. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Anyway, sorry about that. Anyway, David, thank you very much for that, Santos.
Yeah. That's the people. I noticed that in Greece when I go to see my mum, island of Kos, it's next to Turkey and the Ionian, is it Aegean Sea? Very, very humble, salt of the earth, the soul, you know, and they know that. And if they've got anything, you know, restaurants and shops and whatnot, they help. It's very charitable. You often see the people with not very much give the most, and the people with the most don't want to give you a penny. But no, that's good. I like to hear stories. I'm a people watcher myself, and you know, I'm happy that you're safe and that you're getting to see all of that and expanding your consciousness. And I believe everyone that we meet is like a key and they go into a lock and unlock a different part of us. If you connect with somebody, stranger, traveller, you know, that's the key there. So I think if you travel, that's how you meet these others and become, as you say, expanded there. So thank you, brother. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. It's great to meet people. You do expand your field. You engage in their field, which is going to interact with yours. So if they're rich in wisdom and knowledge, that will add to yours. And so I find that that's happening with me. Beautiful people are coming forward to meet me, to
Do
hang
lots of
out.
people know who you are, Santos, in America?
Yeah, well, wherever I go, there's always someone. If I tell people where I am, there's always someone in the neighborhood, you know, in the area, in the local area, that wants to come out and meet me. So they're all good people, syncretists. They've got something to add, and the interaction is always fruitful. I'm quite blessed in that way. Yesterday I had people come over, we had coffee, we had lunch. Today again. That's why I just come from the freeway. And then after this, I also have someone coming and we're going out for dinner. So these are all syncretists. They're all good people. And it's adding to my experience, which is wonderful.
Music to your ears, Santos.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Good people. Yeah.
We say Santos and they say Santos, don't they? We have a different way of saying it. Do you have a preference to how you're called, or do you notice the different dialects and how we say it? Yeah.
No, yeah, I do, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Santos, Santos, as the Spanish say, Santo without the S, which is my birth name, given name without the S. I took on the S because of my music. That's how I promoted my music on my CDs as Santos Bonacci, because it was very Spanish genre. It was with flamenco guitar, etc. So they have two versions. They have Santo and Santos, like Marco and Marcos, Carlo and Carlos. So Santos is one of those that takes on an S, and so that's what I did. But other people know me as Santo, and then others just call me Sam, you know, shortened for that. And I like all of them. I like all of those, you know. Sam is the sun, Santos is the sun, Santos, there you go, it's right there. And it means saint or holy. So all names do anyway, whatever your name.
Yeah, so you like that then, Santos?
Well, all names do, you know, as I've shown. All names go back to the sun and all names mean holy, but just that mine is more obvious because it's actually the word as we use it to mean saint. Saint is santo. So, but whatever it is, Karen is the same thing. It's the sun and it means holy. David means the sun and it means holy. Michael means the sun and it means holy. You give me any name and I'll show you how it means the sun and how it's holy. Because the sun is the only giver in the universe, the true giver, life giver. And all other bodies are receivers. The moon, Saturn, Jupiter, they're all receivers. We are receivers. And so when we invert that receiving energy to giving, we become a solar hero and we go back home to unconditionedness. But it's all about turning the inverted from receiving and being a receiver and a taker to a giver. The sun is the only archetype, universal archetype, that is the supreme unconditional giver. It gives its rays of light to good people and evil people. It makes no discrimination. It is the true example for the universe in that it is always there for all of us, whether you do good things or bad things. Ultimately, you will judge yourself because you won't have the soul force to go back through the sun to unconditioned cause. And in that sense, it can be said that the sun has judged you. You know, Jesus Christ, the Son, is the judge. But he also said that I will not judge, only the Father judges. So what that means is that it is the judge. If you don't have soul force, you can't go through it. It's no it's not being prejudiced against you. You did it to yourself. You know, if you go to the cinema and you've only got $1 and it's $15 to watch the film, well, you don't have enough force, you don't have enough influence, you don't have enough currency, you cannot get in. They're not judging you, they've got nothing against you, they've got something against the fact that you didn't bring enough money. So the judge is like that. It's a portal, it's a gate, and you have to have the gold, you know, to buy your stairway to heaven. And if you don't, well, then that's your fault. You are your own judge. You did it to yourself. But it is what we have to be. We have to be solar heroes.
And with you saying that, then the currency would be the knowledge, the gnosis, the self, knowing yourself. I remember watching a video. You said, this is going off point, but I've got to say it now. You presented how to learn. I don't know if you'll remember it, brother, but how to learn many languages in a few minutes, and you put the Spanish, was it nombre, hombre, name, and how they have very similar endings for the male and the female, and how that was truly enlightening with regards to, you know, the language and the knowledge, the gnosis. If you have that currency, dexterity mentally, then I would argue that would be your payment, then weighing up the soul, not so much for those that are watching thinking, well, how do we get money to pay for the afterlife? You know, just yeah, thank you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, that's right. Well, it's the money is spiritual money. You don't look for anything physical. It's goodness. You know, if your hands are clean and your heart is pure, clean hands, pure heart. You know what your deeds are. You can't fool the universe. You can probably fool people, you know, to some point, but in the end, the universe and you are so connected that you won't allow yourself, you know, to make any sort of you won't allow yourself to make any advancement or going to a place where you don't deserve, because you'll just burn up there. You won't cope. It's like you know, it's a good swimmer. He'll swim across the English Channel, you know, but if you've not a good swimmer, you're not even going to attempt it, you know, even though you love swimming. If you know you can't do more than a mile, you're just not going to get in there. So you won't let yourself, because you'll say no. You won't be stupid and say, well, he did it, I'm going to do it. Well, the other guy prepared. He's been, you know, running down the beach, running up and down every day. He's been faithfully there, working up to it, 10 miles, 11 miles. You haven't. So you're not going to jump in. You're going to judge yourself and say, hey, I can't do that. You know, the sharks are going to get me. I'm going to drown. So you judge yourself to save yourself from going to, you know, across to the other place, because you know you can't do it. But if you do, and you've prepared yourself, you'll just jump in. No thought. You've got the currency, you've got the strength, which is muscle power. You know how to do it, and you're just going to do it. So it's the same with the afterlife. It's you that will say, hey, no, that place where I really ultimately wanted to go, I'm not going to let myself go there, because you'll burn up in the process, because you haven't got the goods. On the way there, you will just, you know, collapse, break down. So you have to stay where you are, and where you're safe, and where you know you can survive, and where you have currency. And it's a lower frequency world, a lower vibratory world, but that's your rate of vibration. That's your frequency.
Father's name, the sin. Yeah. So we got, with what you said there, then we're going to get on point now, because I'm conscious that others are going to be joining, and I'd like you to just to have a chance to echo after this. So if you just give me a few minutes, fam, brother B. That's the Bible story then. The heliocentric bibliothèque, we'll label it as for now, and decoding, recoding, ciphers, all of the languages, brother, numbers and letters universe. We've asked you for backup today, not just you know, to use your name or anything. We really do appreciate and need some of your feedback here, and for the world, to the realm, the tribe, you know, scribes, whatever, the family, to hear this. So the Bible, the Son, the rebirth. We've touched on that. You've explained that well. We agree. We've got that pretty much locked down. All versions, Greek, Old Testament, New Testament, and the pre-gnosis. The Noah point to make then. Stars, you've said stars. Josh touched on that word, went phonetical with it. We have rats, the rats in there. We have stars of Hollywood. Imagine if we was reading 10,000 years from now and there was a story about Santos, David, Patricia and Karen going over to Hollywood to be with the stars. If they didn't know what context that was from, imagine them thinking, what? 4 men went to Hollywood and they was with the stars, but the stars are in space. So this is language, and we have to be careful what we read and how we interpret that going backwards. And that's why Santos is here again, because he's already done that, and we can navigate well, for want of a better word. Noah, I do believe in the flood genealogy. There is stories of fathers being, Noah's dad. I'm not going to go into the names right now, but to paraphrase, there's going to be a flood. Noah came back from somewhere, biblical stories here. We'll go deeper later. And he found out his wife is pregnant, and she's been faithful. Here we go. And Methuselah, I think, was his dad, if I'm remembering. Don't quote me. And Adi says, what do I do? But Noah has been involved in some crazy things. He's also got another name. He lived a long time, more than 100 years. His dad, and the names of his dad. We'll go there later, Santos, in the timeline. But there was a flood, a warning, and a genealogy point there. Ark, genetics, DNA. Very interesting. The Magi, speaking of stars, following a star to get to the chronicle birth point of the Jesus character. Another immaculate conception that we will find and bring to you before Jesus, the story of Jesus and Genesis and so forth. And that's got the Magi. And now Santos, legalese, magic, magician, magistrates, the Magi following the star. Was that a star? Do stars come down? Can we follow them? I'm just touching up and setting us up for where we're going to go. We have a great story here as it is. And, have you got anything you want to echo on that before we set off?
Okay, so when do we start?
Anytime now, brother. It's all relaxed, and we'll crack on now, if that's okay. Yeah.
All right. So
Yeah.
we're starting then, are we? Because
yeah,
I've got an hour with you. Yeah. That's about the time I've got left.
all right. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, good to know.
Did I just say that somebody's microphone, the headphones or something keeps moving around? It probably picks it up more on my phone than on the computer, but I can hear it a lot, someone's headphones. But anyway, carry on, David.
Oh, Santos, I just said set him up for, well, I can carry on, but has he got anything he wants to bounce back off that bit there with the Genesis, Bible, story, Noah, stars, Magi? The genetics, DNA, prodigal things, these stories are repeated in many cultures across the realm, in different books, different gospels, Shiva and, Mahabharata, there's lots, all around. So basically I was saying there's a story there, there's a message, and we have got that to outlay in some kind of lineage. Not do it all tonight, but. All right.
Yep. Yep,
Yeah.
the story is basically about the stars and that we are stars. That's why we all have stars in our names, Sister, youngster, spinster, master, monster, superstar, fraudster, mobster, gangster, rockstar. Everybody is aware of others being stars and themselves. So those indicate that we are stardust, we come from the stars. And every story is going to be about the stars. That's what it's going to be about,
Yes, there's a definite mini star, par star, ra star, far I and I. Yes, sorry. Before we go to such things as Vatican popes, the Antichrist, papacy, let me think, the Romes and courts, Jesuits, Babylon, Greeks, Phoenicia, this would come, later on in the timeline. We have got what I'll say to you then is I'll go through some timelines now, and while we wait, see if others are going to join Santos, and then I'll have like 5 minutes, and then I'll let you bounce back with some comments, and we'll just like, I can't believe I'm going to do this, but thank you. 6000 BC, BCE up to 2019 CE Common Era, and you know, I didn't. It goes back further, but you have Egypt on my screen here, burial of the dead, Egypt at 6000 BCE. First irrigation. There's the pre-dynastic period of Egypt, known as the followers of Horus. Horus, yeah, 6000, that says here, to 3150 BCE. So that's an incredible amount of time, you know, nearly 3000 years, I'd argue. You've got the concept of the afterlife, develops during the pre-dynastic period in Egypt, still that same period, all right. You've got rituals developed there. Arini Cave was inhabited. You don't have to know everything, Santos. I'm just reading from a massive list. You just make some notes or anything that jumps out, you know, as I go along. I'm going to skim through it. Yeah, so we cover in Egypt there, 6000 to 3150 BCE. Heka developed during the pre-dynastic period. You've got the sacred bull, Bulla, Leiden Bulla, Romanus Pontifex bull. We've covered this a lot, which is later known as Apis, Apis. The bull, the legendary, that's something that has never been found, if anyone knows about that. Worship during that same period. And in Heka, you've got papyrus being developed there. That's, you know, some kind of writing, you know, paper form. For those that don't know, along with the Egyptians, and we had tablets of cuneiform to come up in a bit, haven't we, with the Sumer, but I'll stick to this. Worship of Osiris begins in this same period that I've mentioned earlier to, you know, Enki, 5400 BCE. Now we're moving forward a bit. I'm going slow but methodical. Shrines to Enki, Enki, built at the city of Eridu, Eridu, in Mesopotamia. Okay, this is one of my favorite periods, Santos, for many reasons, for the Gilgamesh battles, you know, and Mithras and things that are to come up, and the church and state, you know. But yeah, 5000 BCE, there's evidence of burial in Sumer, which is, you know, Iraq, Middle East, Persia, these kind of places that we were told didn't do much, weren't very technically advanced, had nothing to give, nothing to offer. It was basically dust and animals, 6000 BCE till zero. And, you know, we found a lot of overwhelming evidence that these were building massive buildings, megalithic blocks. You know, what have we got here? I'm just going to skim. Anything there that stuck out that you want to say, Santos, that you've got a comment on that while I look for more?
Well, I'd say that these are all, you know, post-Tartarian empires which were just recently taken over. I'm sure you're aware of Tartaria, yeah?
Yeah, Carrot. For those that aren't, continue on, brother. Well, yeah, well noted. Go on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I would say that Tartaria was the golden age, you know, and when the heavier ages came, I don't think we were ready to, prepared to conserve that old, beautiful wisdom, and so we were taken over. And so this is where our troubles began, you know. The entities that are running the show right now have been able to take advantage of the fact that we've fallen asleep, you know, in this darker age called the Iron Age. So, but the vestiges of that golden age are still around. I've been driving through Miami today, for instance, and that was absolutely amazing to see all the Tartarian buildings there, still there today. And we just think that they were old, you know, from the 30s and 40s of last century and the late 1800s, but really that was evidence of the golden age right there.
That's just the one topic that I haven't got covered here, but I am aware of it. I have talked with you about this. We said that, if you remember on that private chat, I said the only thing I can see here, and that my scribes and we're seeing, is that there must have been some kind of sonic sound, a phonic release, not must have been, highly likely, that there was some resonant globe realm-wide, dissonance frequency that rendered mud to a water-like status then, and rocks, whatever, and liquefied. I don't know. So we know it's sonic, phonic, atom, autumn, as you know. And so I said to you, it looks like, yeah, they had some kind of cover up, literally, with the liquid mud, water-like. I don't know. It's the power systems. Is it not the Zoo of Berlin that they say holds so many great whatever? I forget now. It's a bit fragmented, but power systems. Russia, Tartaria. Karen sister says that it was an anagram of Atlantis. We just touched upon this earlier, did we, sister, as well? Now Santos has synced it in.
Yeah. Yeah, very.
Yeah, I must admit, I've been looking quite a lot into Tartaria, so yeah, carry on, guys.
It's one of the last links. I mean, sovereignty, things like that. Open your eyes. The flat Earth, geocentric stationary Earth cosmology. You know, that's big eye opener. And then this one comes along. You know, this is the big one, showing evidence right under our noses that there was a golden age here. And those buildings, they were built so wonderfully, you know, in order, in cosmological order and resonance. They had, you know, they took great care with ornamenting them, making them receive magnetic, beautiful energies, and bringing free energy to the world. So that was golden age infrastructure, and we've just come along and really forgotten that age, that golden age, and so we've been fooled and told that that was just colonial buildings, etc. But it wasn't. You know, they destroyed that magnetic grid of free energy, and now we are paying for it by the electrical grid, which has been set up in its place. So when you fall asleep, that's what happens. You know, the devil comes in and sows his bad weed.
It's like, yeah, it's like there was a war of some kind, and we have. I mentioned on Shiva there, Shiva. I'm looking at the god, a deity there being a force rather than an actual form of a, you know, a personification of a character or of a consciousness. Shiva, cold. You shiver when you're cold. Cold fusion. You know, in my mind, it's random, but it gets me there. And these Arabian Peninsula evidences of. So perhaps there was a massive, you know, it seems that from what we're finding, our discovery, we were highly advanced. Let me think. The batteries, I can't remember the scholar, the sage. It's not, I can't get it, but there's a sage from India that was writing about batteries and dry cell batteries, that they could have been producing about a volt. You know, when Louis de Blois, research, either you or someone else brought me that. Like I say, these names that just drop into videos that you make a note of, and then you eventually look at them, and they shatter your realm. Atoms and cells having voltages, and how much we have there. So power, recognition that we are power, Tauruses, toroidal, that in itself, harmonious, Atlanta-like, a golden age, 369 Tesla. Somebody, something. Wow, yeah, you've taken us massively off course, but very importantly, I'd just like to throw in then, just for fun, Mandela effect. Sorry.
Yeah, that's another one.
Atomic, go on, particle.
Yeah, that's another one we have to come to terms with, the Mandela effect, for sure.
But we appreciate that. This is what I mean with you. You have a mind that's very dexterity. You know, we've got a lot of you know, ability there, but that's later. And in your works with your energy and your, I've got to catch up. As you know, I'm quite behind with what everybody's doing. But these ages, Neolithic, Greece, agriculture, the bones and the tools and the things that we've seen in, you know, in these fortified old places that weren't doing much at the time. It appears that they was doing a lot in all of the continents, and perhaps we had a period of and the history that we find is very much contradictive. But what we have got is the stones, tablets, megalithic blocks, you know, things that haven't been destroyed, of goddesses and to do with synchronicity, you know, and so forth. It seems to guide us in the way, doesn't it? In the face of confusion. Like sister, you were saying something about Ireland earlier before the chat. Me and Karen was having a catch up, and she mentioned something about Ireland, and just randomly out of these 700 and something pages on this one document, I found that in 4000 BCE, Carrowmore, a megalithic cemetery, begins in Siglo Island. So you know, it's Sligo. We got the evidence of religion, first written evidence of religion in the world recorded on Sumer tablets, 3500 BCE. Yahweh possibly develops from Canaanite god of metallurgy during, that wasn't a missed mick take, I have to say the word sometimes pronounced to get them right, during the Bronze Age. You know, first written evidence of religion in cuneiform was said 3500 BCE. Ness Brogar in new religious site in Orkney, Scotland. So we have a lot to touch upon going forward. But I want to say to Santos that before we go to let's get to Jesus, all right? Because this is the crux. It doesn't matter about the extra that we've got now for this hangout. Have you got anything you want to touch upon about anything between that period, like the Tartaria? Then we'll go before 6000. We can do that, and Tartaria to 0. Anything you think that is, you know, anything relevant from the, you know, up to the Roman point? We're going to go with the, you know, from the Greece, Egypt, anything like that that you found in your research or discovery that you want to re-say, or anything that shocked you, or, you know, to do with that, then you can say now, Santos. Otherwise, we'll go to 0 and the crucifixion, and I'll just touch upon that, and then you can bounce off.
What about the Christian history?
Well, yeah, that's it. We'll go, the pre-gnosis there, the onks, and what you found, anything that you've got before 0, and Constantine and Justinian. Let's just cover that from Tartaria to 0. Over to you. Just anything you've got in your head that in your research and discovery, and then after that, I'll set us up for 0 onwards, and then you can come back after that if that's all right.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't think history is as we've been told. I think 0 point is a point in time where the past and the future actually met. It's not the beginning of a new era. It's actually, it was like to me it was like 0 point, the year 0, supposedly when Jesus was born. Everything that was prior to that is kind of unfurling post that in the same way. For instance, 44 BCE, JC gets betrayed by Brutus, Julius Caesar. Year 44 AD, and gets betrayed and dies on the Ides of March. 33 CE, JC, Jesus gets betrayed by Judas on the Ides of March. Now, if you go back, then you've got Alexander the Great, 323, dies at 32. That's fighting the Persians. Now, if you go to 363, Julian the Great, Julian the Emperor, dies fighting the Persians, and he said he was an incarnation of Alexander the Great, and his parents were Hellenic. The greatest emperor ever, Neoplatonist, dies fighting the Parthians. Same people Alexander the Great was fighting, and died at 323, whereas Julian died at 363. Then you keep going back further, and you'll find that similar, very, very similar things, mirrored in history, occur. For instance, 1500 years before 0, you have Moses, who is Hermes, turns up.
What? Okay. Oh yeah, carry on. Yeah.
Moses,
yeah,
just another way of saying Hermes. Both have the writing stylus. Both are writers. Moses writes the Torah, you see. Hermes writes the Tarot. And then in 1500 CE, Common Era, we've got the Renaissance. And what were they translating? But the Corpus Hermeticum. Marsilio Ficino was translating the Corpus Hermetica. Well, that's Moses. And he even said in the preface, I have found and discovered that Hermes, who we call Hermes, is none other than Moses. That was the Renaissance. So you see, a Moses period, 1500 years prior to the year zero and post year zero. Then you come to 2000 years before the year zero, you've got the Abrahamic religion. You know, and Abraham, of course, has his sigil, which is the Star of David, the original. And now, 2000 years after the year zero, what do we have again? A revival of the Abrahamic religions, and the Star of David turns up on the flag of Israel, and the whole concept of the conquest of Israel is in agreement 2000 years after as it was 2000 years before. Now, I've only put in the skeleton there. I can go in and fill in a lot more stuff. Lots of stuff. For instance, the kings, King David, King Solomon, etc., 1,000 years prior to zero. Well, if you go 1,000 years after, then you've got all those famous kings again, like Charlemagne and all of these great kings who supposedly established Christianity about 1,000 years ago, a different branch of Christianity, like a Gothic, you know, a very different kind of corporate Christianity. So if you look at the timeline as it gets sucked into the year zero, and then as it unfurls past the year zero, you will always see reflections. I'll stop at that because that should interest you to be able to work it out yourself. And I think I've done a video on this. I actually have. I forget what it's called, but showing how the year zero is just like a mirror. It was a vortex. It did exist, you know, and it was 2,000 years ago, but it wasn't anything like what we think, the birth of Christ, like a historical figure. But it was the birth of a Christ in that it was history started again backwards from what came into it from the past, if you know what I mean. So many writers.
Santos, can I just say something? Every time you move, something's moving on your phone. Does everybody hear it, or is it just me?
Yeah, I hear it.
Yeah, it's your headphones are moving around or something.
Right. Okay. Well, I've got earplugs.
That's it. Those things. Yeah. Anyway, so I didn't mean to interrupt you, but as you're talking, we can hear that noise coming over. Sorry.
Right. Okay. Well, I'll try to keep still, but I mean, I don't have headphones. They're just earplugs. They're straight in my ears, and I'm virtually just sitting here still.
Sorry, Santos. Carry on. Didn't mean to interrupt you. Carry on.
There is a little crackle, but it's not massive. But it might be static or hair or something going round. If not, then yeah, it's just that. Yeah, it's maybe wind. It's not that bad though. No.
Yeah, I don't know. There's no wind here.
Okay.
It's pretty still. I think it's just faulty earplugs, I think.
We can still hear you, Santos. That's the most important bit.
Yeah, thank you for that. That's more than I haven't seen that video, that one that you've mentioned, and I've watched a great many. So that's just overwhelming to many of the viewers, and that's why I've got some documents here. Like I'm on page 352 of 1500, and we're not going to go through all of them. Don't worry. It's just as you've said some dates there. 44 BCE. I've got Cicero writes his De Officii. Oh wow, Officii. You say it so well. Compared to you, I sound like a chimpanzee, but I'll continue on. Official Syrio writes his De Officiis. It's spelled Officii. It's 36 BCE. Octavian, October, Octavian strips of all power, but Pontifex Maximus, supreme priest, allegedly, Lepidus, dies of old age in 12 BC. We've got 27 BC to 14. Nabu, never heard of it, Nabu, recognized in Greece and Rome during the reign of Augustus Caesar. Life of Jesus, 1 CE to 100 CE, allegedly. And it's got underneath it the same period. Oh, yeah, that's right. The Mahayan movement begins in India with its belief in Bodhisattva, saintly souls who help the living. And we've got Mithraism spreads in the Roman Empire. Paul the Apostle is born in Tarsus. Jesus of Nazareth is crucified during the reign of Pontius Pilate in Judea. That's part of the clean hands doctrine that we quote as inequity. Some kind of clean hands doctrine. If he that does equity wants equity, going forward now to where we're at. The clean hands doctrine. Pontius Pilate couldn't find fault with this character, Jesus of Nazareth, and what is his hands as he orders the ruling of. I'll stop on that bit, and we've got on the other side to do with my other page of kingdoms and civilizations. Just interestingly, the Roman victory, it's got 56 BCE. The navies of Rome and the Veneti Gauls clashed during the Roman victory. It's the first recorded naval battle in the Atlantic Ocean. So I thought I'd mention that. We've got reign of an Armenian king, Artavasdes, maybe. 55 BCE, Pompey the Great builds the first permanent stone theatre in Rome, and Caesar attempts to invade Britain. Here we go, 55 BC to 54. Caesar's expeditions in Britain, 55, 50 BCE. He tries to invade Britain twice, does Julius. Interesting, he successfully invades in 54 BCE, but withdraws to Gaul. And the measure of a man. And the Romans weren't great sailors, apparently, and if you can find your way to a shore in a storm, that would be the measure of man, which is comparable to what I'm trying to do with regards to getting out of this legal quandary, public civil liabilities, assumptions, presumptions, etc., sin, debtor, find our way back to land in this storm. So I would also argue that thanks to Santos, the works of Josephus, I found many Josephus. It was Joseph Atwill as well, doing some works as a scholar, as of looking at that. And who is it now in Fabians or something, Titus, Flavius, and all of these that you brought us. That to me, after reading that, Santos, transpires that we have a monarchy on this, I call it Anglo, Britain, English, non-UK, terra firma. And the monarchy being of the bloodline that it is, apparently Battenbergy, German, Windsor, not British or Egyptian even, but that there being as it is, taxing as it is and doing what it's doing. Andrew's been in the news. He's lost his patronage, rightly so, if them claims or any kind of, I'll just briefly touch on that. And we've got the English, Anglo, effectively mixed non-English invaders with this bloodline DNA being taxed by this non-monarch of bloodline to the indigenous man, which is comparable to, I'd say, a Roman Caesar back in the day taxing the Jews. I yield. Yeah.
Yeah, all of those events you mentioned, if you study that period, you'll see everything is mirrored, BCE to CE. It's all mirrored, everything. You look at the period, say 60, 70 years BCE, you've got Pompey, a general, and then 70 years CE, you get Pompey being destroyed by a volcano. So there's this Pompey mirroring. Different spelling, one's with a Y and one's with an I. But rest assured, it's the same spelling in Roman. So you mentioned Pompeii, that's why I thought I'd mention that. But all the other, there was quite a few others that I saw also that have their mirroring. So I would be paying attention to that year zero, because it's not for no reason that this birthday, this celebrated birthday of Jesus is claimed to be around that time, because it's a vortex, I think. That's the only way I can explain it, because I see this mirroring all the time,
Yes, it's a balance, the negative, the positive, the yin, the yang, the scales. And when you say that, do you mean that it was a man type devised land realm based event, or do you think that it had connotations of external influence from above?
What the history post zero?
What you're saying effectively has happened. There's been some kind of change to man, whether we look at biblical references or whether we look at the factual references, the buildings, the monolithic, the geo, the astro, when we look at the stars, the land, all of the realm. And you're saying there that there was a change. We see that too. Yes, these families and dates and times are done by man. We wasn't alive then, so we have. You said that on the Hangout. We have no first-hand knowledge. We have to be careful what we say and how we repeat that. What we see is something happened there with man, energy, souls. I don't think a bloodline of man could do this. I would say. Going a bit David Icke, but there you go. It's some kind of. I was asking you if you think it was man that did this contrived, like Caesars and the Constantines and the Roman empires and absorbing Greece and rich type of effect of man, or if it was a bloodline external from this realm that wants to control and usurp, subjugate, subrogate. Because I can't see us. Blood, rhesus, negative, positive man, Homo sapien from Adam, from the creator with the connection doing this. This takes some kind of, for me to cognize, and I can confidently and calmly put this out there, this takes some doing, doesn't it? And I don't see a man with a sentient soul, whoa man, being able, even a gang of us, a count cell, a count syllabus. I don't think we could ever contrive something like this kingdom of heaven, within the devil running the realm, the big man up top watching down, experiencing it as his omnipresence. Is that story has got some truth to it, but then what we see here, there are factions, the stars, Pleiades, and the way that it matches up with buildings and Orion's belt. These things tell me that there's visitations and there's symbols and there's signs, and even the Nazca lines and that tarantula matches up with, you couldn't make it up. So there's evidences here that tells me, Nazca, wow, yeah, shouldn't have said that.
Can I add something?
Go on. Go, yeah, please go. Yeah,
Well, it's just in this Tartaria bit and realizing that they've lied about Ireland, and according to things in some information that I know, that basically we were going to Ireland to be educated, and it looks like maybe the Irish built the star forts, and they all seem to be under the stars, don't they? Under the constellations. They seem to match up with the stars above. I just thought I'd add that.
Yeah, they all do, Karen. They all do. To answer your question, David, it's mind, universal mind. It's ordered. And universal mind, which is a projection from source, it's like a computer program. And it is ordered. This is why the Bible talks about 1,000 years, 1,000 years. One day with man is like 1,000 years with God. Or vice versa, 1,000 years with man is like one day with God. Krishna says, every 1,000 years I recreate history. So Uranus has an 12, it's an 84-year orbit. 12 times 84 brings you to 1,000 years. And Uranus means heavens, Uranos in Greek. So that would be Krishna, because his number is 1,008. And in fact, the 12 times 84 years, Uranus's orbit, is 1,008 years. So somehow it's slowed itself down to 1008, but really the 1,000-year cycle is the cycle of history. Every 1,000 years it repeats. And so the Romans will just turn up, and what they will do is they will appropriate themselves of the past 1,000 years and rebuild on it and just start afresh. And they will just continue their story.
And toleration of man. It's like the Roman Empire, Constantine tolerating Christianity and so forth. It's you know, edicts, and the Romans play a massive part as to where we are now. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, and the Romans reincarnated into England. The
Can I
English
ask you something? If the word is like row man, isn't it? Roman. They were rowing.
Boatmen, boat people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yep.
I'm only
yep.
learning this. I'm learning. I'm going
Go
through
on.
this. Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Look at her go, Santos. Look at her go.
Or yep.
Yeah.
That's it. That's how you've got to work it. You've got to see it like that. You've got to be able to see language as, you know, as hiding truths. You don't just hear words and just take them, you know, at face value. Look carefully. Ro is Ra. That's the sun. So they're also men from Ra. We all come from the sun. The sun is the giver. Everything comes from Ra. So we're all Ramans. Rowing. The sun is rowing. It's said to be a boat on the ecliptic. And Jason, Jar's son.
No.
Well,
My middle name's Jason, David Jason. Carry on. Oh, no.
Again, all names are from the sun. All of them.
Oh.
There's no name that is not from the sun. They're all solar names. Boy names, girl names.
My calling, sorry, correction, we're at easier soldiers. My calling, it's not a name is for a company. I know that, scribes. Just when I'm excited and tired, we forget we're at ease here. We're trained to speak legalese, Santos. Here we go. Romans, then language, grammar, phonics, you know, debased language, dissonance, resonance. Sister Karen picking up on the etymological, phonetical, sonic, you know, resonance of Roman, ROWROE. Roman, well said, that's bang on point. So we then get trained, indoctrinated to the alpha beta, and how we've got this numbers, language, letters, universe. And from what I'm seeing, I've been told, taught, you have, we speak legalese. We don't speak the language of the land. English is the most spoken language around the realm. We see why now, because it's a negative, cursive, confusing, double Dutch, if you like, language there, containing all elements of the realm. You know, we're pH, physical, phi cycle. We like that one with Josh, and the phi, Fibonacci. Let me think, the maths man, who is he? Pythagoras, very important. And then we go Poseidon. So we talk to speak a non-resident, non-indigenous language that is legally liable, makes us legally liable. Can you, because you know, I know you're a fan, not a fan, you know, but as I am a fan of this, you know, text and how it enropes us into our own demise. You said earlier about the currency not having enough and the way that we pay. Well, forgive them because they don't know who they are and what they do. You know, when they sin, when we sin, we do that willingly with our will and our mind, but we are told to speak a phonetical corruptive language, which is bad for our soul. So that's called English, everyone, the common tongue. Your mum, when you're born, would give you her tongue, the mother's tongue. I like that very much. And then we learn from the mother's tongue the dialects and everything. And after that, you know, we go to the indoctrination and we learn this Oxford water, bull water, grammar, grammaton, tetragrammaton. Santos, over to you, brother.
Oh, those are some very, very good thoughts there. Those are very, very good. Mother tongue. That's interesting, isn't it? Because you're listening to your mother when you're in the womb. You listen to her tongue, you know. So you're going to be getting that language already from in the womb. So this is very important. But the legalese side of things, we are speaking legalese. Linglish still exists, of course. It's there. It's like, I guess you could say, an operating system in a computer. You know, it's there operating the program, but you can run different types of programs off that operating system. So that's what legalese is, and we've been tricked into using it, or not necessarily tricked, but it's just become a custom. You know, I don't know whether it's a trick, but certainly they've inserted it in the schools, etc. But it all comes from Rome, because England is Rome. El London, you know, is just baby baby Babylon. That's what London is. It's Babylon, baby London, and it's basically Rome.
United Kingdom bit then, Santos.
Sorry?
What's the United Kingdom bit then? What does that mean?
Well, I guess that's a political entity, whereas Great Britain...
The trust for Elizabeth, where she's, sorry to butt in, but we see it as some kind of trust where Elizabeth has congregated all of the counties and shires into one legal instrument. You know, entity, trust. Trust can hold property. Trust can do a lot of things. So not to interject over Santos's point, is I'm not saying I'm right. Modern day effects are Battenberg, Windsor, the Three Crowns, the monarchy, K, Abel. Let me think, what did Josh say now? He said something about the Torah, Talmud, Cabal, be able on, be a Babylon, Kabbalah. Yeah, so the trust is some kind of new modernization. You know, like we've had battles, my granddads and other families have given blood for this land to remain free, just so someone can come along and hoodwink us by deceptive measures. No battle, no no honor, complete dishonor, no disclosure, and all this for, you know, the United Kingdom. When we watch the World Cup, we all go, oh, England, come on, England, but yet you live in the UK, and we have this dissonance. So I wanted to interject that, not to be rude, but that's the current up-to-date version we have over here. Santos has got his own and an equally important opinion. It may reflect that or not, but I can give you evidence to what I've just claimed there as well, you know, fam. So it's disgusting in a way, and it's legal on bondage, papal, Three Crowns, all through the history. The UK is not where I am right now, I assure you. Santos.
Yeah, the UK would be a political entity, Great Britain would be a spiritual, religious entity, and England would be the culture, you know. If you say you're English, that means you are culturally English. It has nothing to do with your religion or your politics. You are English, you know, and that's cultural. So it's kind of convoluted, but I think those three things are very, very different and distinct things. Most certainly Britain is a Jewish word. It's people of the covenant. That's what it means. So it's a religious superimposition that is top down. England is, you know, grassroots, and then Great Britain, of course, is a trust. It's political, financial, and it's all Roman, because the Romans incarnated into England as the Greeks incarnated into America, and the Americans have carried the Greek spirit, the Greek culture and their concepts into America, whereas England is running Rome's program. So it just keeps recycling. It recycles. That's why I've always said that Babylon, Persia, Rome, it's all Rome, it's all Babylon, it's all Egypt, it's all Persian. It's really no use trying to separate these, you know. Separating them causes you not to see the influence of each one of them. And you will see that English has the influence of all of those cultures and political entities, empires. It also has the language in them. Everyone knows that English is like, they say it was a language that was made up, which I do not agree with. I believe it is heavenly and it was always there, but you can prove that it is related to French, Latin, Nordic, Celtic, Teutonic. Yeah, the list goes on. There's Greek words there. There's massive amounts of Greek words in English. Is that because the English sat there and said, well, let's just absorb all these English words? No, it's how language works. When you understand what I'm teaching, that there is only one language, and it is atomic or etymology. Atom is atom, and all is atom. So when you understand that atom is an atom, which is a torus field, you'll understand that all words and numbers come from it, simply because atoms are pulsating units of light. And light is also sound. Therefore, it has a qualitative component to it, which is letters of the alphabet, 27 thereof, which make up the Rubik's Cube, 3 times 3 times 3, right? That's around about the average of all alphabets are 27 letters, including English, including Greek, including, not Greek, Latin. Latin had
All they've
27.
done is turn the letters round for the different languages, haven't they, really?
I don't think they have done that. It's just how it happens. Remember in the Bible it talks about God came down and confused the languages and called it Babylon, and then men were confused. Well, that's not talking about a literal historical event. It's talking about how the atom and etymology and language confuses itself. It's just it's like music. Music confuses itself into many genres, you know, blues, jazz. They don't really get created, you know. I mean, we think that because we've seen the punk and the rap and we've seen that in modern times develop, etc. But really, they are rooted in older forms of music. But it's all music. You see, so if you see a tum as the source of all numbers and letters, numbers are quantities, letters are qualities, and you will see that the Jews who teach that all is letters and the Pythagoreans who teach that all is number are both right and are teaching half-truths by saying that. It's all gematria, which is numbers which have, or letters which have numerical value. So A will always be 1. You see, B is always both, Beth in Hebrew, meaning both, thank you Stan Tenen, meaning 2. C will be 3. And so when you understand quantities and qualities together like that, and that's how the universe is made, you will understand that numbers are light, pulsating light, and letters are sound, because you can't hear numbers. You can't hear the number 1. There's one bottle over there on the corner of the table. Can you hear that? No, but it's still there and it's still 1. And it's still a quantity. But a letter, you can't have a silent letter. A, B, C, D, that's all noise. Numbers don't make noise. So you can have 3 A's, A. You can have 20 A's. But 1 is a quantity, 1 is a quality. So this is how clever atum is. Atum is a sound, but it is also light, because sound and light are quantities and qualities. And so this is why all percussive instruments are called tom. You know, a drummer plays his tom-tom. Timbali, timpani, tambourine, tam-tam is another way of saying a gong in Chinese, tam-tam. All these drums, you look around, go looking at percussive instruments, and you'll see they've all got dom or tom or tim or tem in them. Why? Because all is atem. All is aten, atum, adam, adum, dom, dominus. When you know that T and D are interchangeable, and M and N. The law of interchangeable, or the rule of interchangeable.
Santos, say 10, please. Base 10, say 10. Sorry.
Yeah, Satan means that, see, Satan is the god of, in the Bible, Satan is the god of the world. In astrology, Saturn is the god of earth, the element earth and air. Again, the Bible tells you that Satan rules the air. Well, that's Saturn. He's the ruler of the air. And he's also the ruler of the earth element, Capricorn. So he's got Libra and Aquarius, air, which he rules, and he's got Capricorn, which is Earth. Well, the Bible concurs. It tells you that Satan is the ruler of the air. Be careful, because he's out there like a roaring lion, and he's the ruler of the world. Well, that's Earth. So Sat-10, 10 is in his name. It's actually turn, but we say Saturn because you got to hear it as you hear it. It's 10 because the number of the fingers on the hand are symbolic of our earthly body and the curse of having come into this realm of being born and dying, pleasure and pain. So it's going to be Saturn. Saturn is Adam. It's another way of saying it. Aten. Atum. And
Can I
so
just say that Charlie's joined us, Santos and David?
Lovely.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, Charlie.
Just loving what I'm hearing.
Hello, Charlie. Good to see you. Thank you for
Hi,
joining.
David.
Yeah, we did a show today, so it's good.
Yeah, it was an incredible show. Thank you.
I don't think we realise, do we, what everything means, basically. If you actually look at it like this way, it's so different to what we're taught.
Yeah. Yeah, so going back to Saturn, it's the atom, because it's the same word. And the atom is a trinity: proton, electron, and neutron. Dielectricity, magnetism, electricity. Always in that order. Always. Neutron, proton, electron. Dielectricity, magnetism, electricity. Krishna, Radharani, Balaram. And the list goes on and on and on. And when you know this, you look at a torus field, and you have to be very clever when you look at a torus field. You have to consider the hyperbola, the inverse of a sphere, which is a hyperbola, the hourglass in the middle of a torus field. Well, there it is. There's the hourglass. It's right there. That's Chronos. You don't need any more, and it's the Holy Grail because it's a cup. So you don't have to look for the Holy Grail. You don't have to go interpreting scriptures. Everything is in the torus field. And then, of course, the component that people miss, Ken Wheeler says you can't talk about torus fields without talking about its twin, the hyperbola. But I would add to that you can't talk about those two without talking about the plane of inertia, which translates to the planet of Eartha. That's the material part in every atom. It's the neutron. It's the plane dissecting the red shift below and blue shift above. And that's why we've got blue skies above us and red hell below the earth. And that earth is an anagram for heart, and your heart is that horizontal plane of inertia, which is pulsating. Hence you get your pulse checked, your heart pulse, and it runs along horizontally. You have a vertical field as well, but that's where the torus energy field goes in blue shift in your fontanelle and goes out red shift outside your perineum, the bottom chakra. But it always centers in the green heart chakra, which is a horizontal plane. That's the cross. That's the Holy Cross. And the vertical, that's the hyperbola part of your torus field, torso, aura around your body. Hence, your spinal column has a lumbar in it because it is Merudanda. Meru is the mountain at the North Pole at the center of the earth. It's a magnetic North Pole in Jambudweep in Bhagavad Gita. It's the island of Jambudweep, the Bhumandala. That Bhumandala is your heart plane, horizontal. But the lumbar, the tree of life, your spinal column, that's vertical. And that's what separates man from the animals because they are horizontal. Their lumbar is horizontal. So they are not, as Marcus Manilius, the astrologer to Julius Caesar and Caesar Augustus said, only man can look up at the stars. The animals don't look at the stars. They do not acknowledge them. They acknowledge not the sun, by looking at it like we do, and they don't see the stars because they're horizontally inclined. We have our tree vertical because we are climbing that tree to go back to the stars. Whether you are a cis star, a young star, a mob star, gang star, Mars star, Mon-star, fraud star, rock star, superstar. So why? Because we know our origin. They don't. They are still in ignorance. This is why we have to be solar heroes and invert our polarity from receivers to givers, like Jesus, like Jupiter, who saves himself and saves others. When you invert and revert to giving, you become a solar hero. The moon is receiving. So that's why the moon makes moon stars, monsters, demons, monkeys, lunatics, etc. Most people in the world, folks, they're on the left-hand path. And the moon was called sin. Mount Sinai, when Moses climbs Mount Sinai, it's the Mount of Sin, the moon. It's the moon waxing. And so the left-hand path, sinister in Latin, is left. And that's why sinners were considered moon devotees. They don't progress higher than the moon. Yes, you can go to the moon and it's a more blessed place than the earth if you want to dwell there. The rishis go there. Many worshippers of the demiurge, according to Bhagavad Gita, go to the moon and they have a great time. But they also get bounced back. They don't proceed further. If you want to go back to unconditioned cause, not a realm of pleasure and pain like the moon, then it's the sun and the solar hero. And you have to be like the sun, a giver, not a receiver like the moon. The moon receives souls, it's the ovaries of the system, the solar system, and boots them onto this theatre plane, the earth. That's the moon. That's the moon's job. The sun gives the moon that job. So the sun is giving life to the moon, and it's giving life to us when we go through the sun. I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one goes to the Father except through me. The moon, another word for moon, Circe, Kirke, is church. So that's another aspect of Christ, the church of Christ. And it's good. I'm not saying the moon is evil. I just had an argument with that on Facebook about last week about someone jumping, because they don't know all of my material. They see these posts and they jump on. You know, when I talk about the negative side of Satan, and people want to know why I hate Satan and Saturn. I don't. I explain them correctly. I explain their evil side and their good side. The moon has great things, but you don't want to be a sinner on the sinister path. The right-hand path of purity. The sun is gold, the moon is silver. Gold is what you have to buy to have your currency to get to the other side, to pay the riverman across the river Styx. See, the money, is physical money, whereas gold is spiritual money. Always in the scriptures it tells you to buy gold. Even Led Zeppelin tell you that she's buying a Stairway to Heaven, and she's buying gold, right? So remembering that the moon is also menstruator, and has to do with blood. There is no blood in the transcendental dimensions where we belong. We really belong there, guys. If you feel an aching in your heart and a longing and that something's missing, it's because you're not in your transcendental place. You are transcendental and unconditioned, and you find yourself very inconvenienced and uncomfortable in this realm of conditions. It's just not right. It's not for us. It's not for humans. You know, we've been downgraded, and it's no one's fault. It's probably our own. There's two ways of getting there.
They don't concentrate on the spiritual side of thing in this place, do they? When we're spiritual beings.
That's right. That's right. And because they've forgotten their original source. You know, they've forgotten their origin, and that's what it's called, the godless people, because they They don't acknowledge their spiritual dimensions, like someone like an atheist, right? And they're very, very proud of it, and they think they're smart. But all they're doing is they're denying their own godship by not acknowledging God, because it's them. That's who they are. Because we are always God, and we are always different to God. We're we have a dual nature, this dichotomy of our existence. And when we acknowledge that we are God, then we return to God. It's the higher mind. But otherwise, we'll be always trapped internally in the carnal mind. Khan comes from carbon. Carbon, bon means good, right? Universal word for bon. Bonus, bona fide. It's a Latin word, and it's universal.
Bonacci.
So, yep, bonacci means good disposition. So there you go. It's there again. Bon, good. So carbon means good flesh, and in fact, carbon is 666, and all flesh, all solid matter is made of carbon 12. So it's the word itself tells you it's carnal, it's fleshly, and it makes the flesh. Silicon and carbon, but mostly carbon. So it's good flesh. It is the God particle, in fact, carbon 666. So these are the mysteries, friends. M-Y-S-T. They try to make mystery a bad word, like, they'll say, oh, that sounds rather mystical, as if to suggest that it's hocus pocus. But you see, M-I-S-T, water is the water baptism, which Plato says is the false spiritual baptism, psychic only, and not anagogic. Whereas the M-Y-S-T is the baptism of fire that John the Baptist spoke about when he said, the one coming, I baptize with water, but the one coming will baptize with spirit and fire. And you've always heard about this fire baptism, haven't you? Oh, he was baptized. He just received.
What about
Yeah, there you go. So, yeah, I'll hand her over.
Does Charlie want to say anything? Hello, Charlie.
Hi, guys. Well, just great stuff. A couple other things about the moon. In Latin, sin is without, and con is with, so congruent. And essentially, one of the things Santos was talking on our podcast today was this notion, the difference between truth, which is all-encompassing truth, and the truth, or my truth, or their truth. And it is a way of claiming a piece or a portion, but not the whole. And it's very clever. Probably most of the time it's unconscious, but with organized society and the Phoenicians, it's purposeful. And so what they do is trick us with bits and pieces, and that to do that they have to draw you outside of yourself. So the great sin of being drawn to the waxing moon is that you're not your own hero. You're not being yourself. You're not going within. You can't find stillness to even attempt to meditate, let alone achieve meditation. And that's what they want. So that's why everything in society is constructed the way it is. And that's why they do all that they do. It's why TV exists into your convenient little living room or dining room, so that it can stop you from going outside.
That's a
with your kid.
program, though, in itself, isn't it? It's
It
not
is.
just watching the program. And we pay for it.
Exactly. It's brilliant, Karen. That's exactly right. So we pay for the privilege of somebody else to turn us into mindless zombies. It's exactly right. And so what they're doing is that they are presenting themselves in the role of the moon goddess Sin, of the Ur of the Chaldees. And that's what we do. We pay for the privilege to have all of these Hollywood monsters trick us and deceive us into feeling they're special. They have all the answers and the knowledge. We're just idiots. And we stay inside eating our horrific acidic food, and and then at night going in front of a computer and ejaculating out there. And that's what they want. They want everything out there. And yet, where do all the answers lie? Where is all the truth in its purest form? And it's always a holistic form. It's within. Everything that they do lures you out. It's like that great scene in Godfather 3. And again, that's very, very hands-on movie for Francis Ford Coppola. To get fame and fortune and to play the game, he did Godfathers 1 and 2 and glorified a certain kind of lifestyle. But in Godfather 3, he got a chance to sort of speak his mind and tell the truth. And if you know that movie, or if you only partially know it, go back and watch it again, and your eyes will really be turned on and open by the things that he's sharing with you there. And what Michael...
Yeah, Charlie, that's because we've watched it as dead people inside. And then when you go and relook at things, you suddenly see something completely different.
That's right. That's right. And that's why Michael in the movie says, every time I think I'm out, they pull me back in. They pull me into their world, which is out. And it's a sin. To be pulled out of you is a sin. And that is symbolized by the waxing moon. Whereas all the truth exists within. Peace, stillness, silence, dielectricity. Dielectricity combined with the constant movement of magnetism, Mary, moon, gives you friction, which gives you the child. And the child is 666. And the child has a choice to be fallen and live in hell upon earth again and again and again and again and again and again and again around the big old wheel of fortune, win a big prize, maybe like a refrigerator. That'd be, oh my God, that'd be awesome. Or you can go within, and instead of winning refrigerators, you win gold and brass and copper. And these are all the things that we store in the treasury of the Lord. And eventually you get to wear a ruby upon your head because your pineal gland is activated and turned on. And you're rolling back the fornix, you're rolling back the gray rain curtain of this world, and you're looking face to face in heaven with God. And that's within. But if you can't still your mind, you're never going to achieve any of those things. And again, stillness comes from balance. And the only way in this world we're ever going to get balanced is by adding alkalinity to our life.
Don't you think though, Charlie, once you understand, I'm not saying I'm like you guys, you're the masters, okay, at all understanding this stuff, but once you understand more, it changes you, doesn't it, as a person?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like when you thought it was like that, you might think all these things. And then when you wake up or you understand that everything has this double meaning or whatever it is, or you start understanding that the words don't mean what you think they mean, but you start looking at everything differently.
That's why we're here. Yep. That's it. May I interject, Charlie?
David, jump in.
Santos said he's got an hour. He's about up now, the hour. So I've got some notes I'd like to recap. But with what you've just said, brother, I am Jeremita family there, Castelvetrano, Sicily. And one of my quotes from, I think it's Marlon Brando, you mess with me, you mess with my whole family. And tonight, my friend, not you, but the quote, tonight, my friend, you sleep with the fishes. It's very poignant. Yeah, wow, iconic way. Yeah, I will. Now I'm going to rewatch that on your, say so there, and I will let you know later on what I pull out of that. And you said the truth when you was on about truth and the truth, and I in my time being eager, not egotistical, but eager to get on. And very much eager, I suppose, and having the energy of being guilty of making a fair few mistakes in my time, and the truth gets objectified. I've noticed it does. Yeah, people try to sell it and profit on it and mix it up, water it down, add their own flavour. We see that truth is different to the truth, objectification, and yeah, I just thought I'd add that to what you said, brother. I like that.
That's brilliant, and again, it comes from Santos, and I know some things. What I don't know is a mountainside, but I know some things. But at least they're important, powerful, holistic things. But when you're talking about the master, that truly is Santos. That is someone who understands things holistically. And the power for, and Santos has a large following because he's so eloquent and because he speaks holistically. And when you go to any other channel out there, with the exception of a few, you're just hearing fragments, bits and pieces, and it drives you insane, which is the whole point of all of this, is to keep you off kilter, off balance. Because balance is the way. It's the middle way. It's the whole way. It's the path of the straight and narrow. And that's the value. That's the incredible value of Santos Bonacci. And when Santos comes out and talks about, and this is our next podcast, I'm just about finished. That'll be uploaded probably tomorrow. And that's our discussion together on flat Earth. If you're still on the fence with flat Earth after watching this podcast with Santos, you're asleep. You're asleep. The Earth has to be flat, still and stationary, because everything is human physiology. It ties in to who we are, why we're here, what our purpose is, and how we connect back to God. You can't do so on a tilting, wobbling, spinning ball, upside down, and pulled by gravity and all these things. I need a carrot wrap for my wabbit. They're just lies. It's just the befuddlement of simplicity, which is God's way and message. And again, that's what you get with Santos. So what's Santos talking about? Redshift, blue shift, and what's the answer? Green, RGB. Redshift and blue shift are polar opposites, but in the middle is green, which comes from the golden sun and the white light of the golden sun to produce chlorophyll in plants, which then the whole world uses as the source of food. RGB, the Holy Trinity, dielectricity, magnetism, and electricity, the child. I mean, it's all there, and that's what Santos does, and that's why we need to greatly support and admire Santos and protect him.
We do. May I say, I've referred to him as the godfather of. Oh, sorry. Are we on? Yeah, as the godfather of history, the granddad. I don't want to insult him there, but yes, we do need him. He's the most iconic, giving of this, and he's been a mentor of mine and will be for many years to come. He's touched upon some things I wanted to comment on before he goes. He mentioned Jason earlier. My notes are July, August, September, October, November. Jason. I also have that as my middle name. I don't mind saying it publicly. David Jason. I was named after David Bowie, and have the middle name Jason just by the chance there. So that I've taken from that. And he mentioned Satan, Saturn. I agree. I don't say that it's a bad, negative area. I just point out the negative energies and the data we've found, the poles, the shapes, and Satan, Satanistic, the true Sabbath, Saturn. It's not all bad. I'm with you there. I'll echo that, Santos. I get a few emails, accusing and with confusion there, and I explain as best as I can. We'll need you back again for the planetary alignment at some point. There, you mentioned back, tree, back, jack. There's a lot of jacks in life. Lumberjack, back, yeah, tree of life. You have a spine. You mentioned animals, horizontal, man, upright, and spine, pineal gland, the pine there. the 33. We need to touch upon that with the consciousness of where we're going, with what Charlie's echoed and what you have there for Anglo to understand the true meaning of Christmas, consciousness, love, giving, vibratory, and the planet Jupiter, and these things, they are critical. It's a very slight change, and the language truth has been hidden in plain sight there. So I just want to give love and respect for you taking the time to come over on this Hangout podcast with us, Santos. And I know it was a bit touch and go with a taxi and everything, but we do love and respect you. You will be number one in our hearts for forever, for what you've done. So I'll yield there. Thank you. Yeah, he said an hour. It was about 1/2 his hour was up. Yeah.
Can you hear me now? Sorry, guys. I was muted. Can you hear me? Oh, great. Yeah, look, I was really enjoying this, but if I don't go now, I've got my ride for dinner, So it's unfortunate, but, well, that's how it works. These Hangouts are so compelling. But, yeah, I'll join you another time, of course, as I do. But just wanted to add with sin, good point there, Charlie, about missing, about sin meaning without, going without. In Hebrew, it's the second last letter, so it's considered to be the letter that misses the mark. Again, we don't want to be sinners for all those three reasons. There's three good solid reasons which we have considered in this Hangout. So how to be a sinner, follower of the moon. To be a moon star is not the way, although the moon is the goddess and needs to be respected and adored. It's not the archetype that we want. We want to be archetypally solar, giving, givers. So we need to invert that and follow the path back, the way back to glory. And that's it. We're seeking glory, not from men and not from vain pursuits, but from the divinity, from our glorious nature, so we can restore our power and be godlike. So thanks, guys. Catch you on the next one. Thanks for having me. Thank you for your kindness. Thank you for, what you said before, brother David, protecting me and sending love my way, because when you're on this path, lots of trials and tribulations and antagonisms come your way, and I can recount many, and I know you also can, but I appreciate your support. So big love, big hugs, kisses and hugs, and a lot of love, and catch you on the next one, eh?
Thank you, and back at you. Much love. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Santos.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Ciao, Bella.
Thanks. What I was going to do is just syncretically tie in something wonderful that David said, and tied into what Santos was saying. And again, everything about the human journey is up. It's up and to the right. And the whole reason we have a journey in the first place is that we've fallen. What existed in the beginning, this is something that Colleen and I talked about on our third episode of the Breakfast Table Chats, which is Colleen's invention to be able to get me doing more podcasts, because I'm so busy with the farm and the animals here. But so what we talked about there was that we had fallen from a singularity, a purely metaphysical existence at the right-hand side of the Garden of Eden, in the presence of God, where we didn't take thought and where we simply responded in bliss to all the abundance that was provided for us. And when we tasted symbolically of the apple from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, then we fell. And the moment we fell, it triggered the creation that God had in mind for us, which is now this earthly world for the fallen man, where everything in it is a polarity. And we have an infinite things that all have polar opposites. And that creates the nature of our duality, as above, so below. And we have free will, and the free will is that we can choose whatever we want with regard to any one of these polarities, and that's the only freedom that exists. We are truly free. So God's essentially saying, look, you want to think for yourself, I love you, you're completely free, have at her. And look at what we've done. look at what we've done since we fell. We let them own land and therefore applied value to the land, and therefore things cost money, therefore we need jobs, and therefore the entire purpose in life is to have kids to help us do our work, and then pawn them off to the schools so that they can then go do meaningless, worthless, purposefulless jobs for no reason, because there's no basis to money. There's no basis to owning land. Everything is free. Everything is already created for us. Human beings, we don't create anything. We never have. We've innovated things, but we've never created a single thing. And all we do typically from one another is just ape or monkey or what we see other people do. And if the majority are doing this, well, I might as well follow in. And that's what we become. And it's really, really sad when we are when we are solar stars, superstars of the sun, and our journey is up. We're up because we've fallen. So David was saying that the journey up the spine, and it's very symbolic, right? Well, look at what spine. If Josh was here, he'd break this down for us. But look at what the spine is. It's an S, which is the sine wave, which is the very nature of the path of the sun as it journeys through the stars. And the sun, Christ Jesus, is the son of the sun, and that's what Saturn, literally why it's called Saturn, because it's the planet that is the son of the sun, and it's our dual nature. 666 is either beautifully, wonderfully risen and miraculous, because 18 is chi, the energy of life, and 1 + 8 is 9, God consciousness, or we're the beast. It's a choice, left brain, right brain. So right. So if you separate spine with the sine wave at the beginning with the second part of the word, then it's S-pine. And so pine is, as David was saying, is of course for the pineal gland, which is up and to the right, which is, pretty much as far as we can go within the realm of human physiology. Up and to the right is the pine. And the only way to get there is an S. The only way that we can raise our consciousness all the way up to the pine tree, which is up and to the right at the top of human physiology in our skull, is via the Kundalini serpent that lies trapped, frustrated, and heartbroken down in the shitter, down beneath the sacrum, in our human physiology, at the bottom of our torso, where our sexual glands are and where our anus is, and that's why life stinks. It literally stinks, because that's where we stick our consciousness all the time. Yeah, and we're always fucked. We're always fucked over, and life stinks, and people are full of shit, because our essence, which is the Kundalini magnetic serpent, which has to rise, is coiled up 3.5 times down in the shitter. And that's our reality. They put us there. We allowed them to put us there. And we watch The Simpsons at night, drink Coca-Cola, and eat Doritos with that heroin cheese, instead of going outside with our kids, looking at the bloody stars and seeing the message of human physiology every single night in the sky above us. So spine, which is the strongest, most central part of our existence, is a sine wave, magnetism. Again, this is the scarlet harlot, the fallen sacred feminine, rising up and becoming white like a crested wave, at the very, very top of the pine tree. Which is essentially what we are. And that's turning the scarlet harlot into the white, pure Virgin Mary. And it's inside of all of us. It's our purpose. It's our journey. It's what we're here for, and it's the only way to get up to that pineal gland. So I just wanted to chime in with that, because that's David said that, and with
I'm so
regard to
glad.
what Santos was saying, it was brilliant.
Charlie, are you ready? Let's go for another. Wow, I had it all lined up. Let me reset 1 minute. It's here. Spine. Books have spines. All right. I'm not I'm not trying to insult your intelligence. My legal, lawful discovery, research, and words, phonics, language, everything. So spine is also in a book. I find that books have characters. We have characters. They have a name. The book has a name and a title. The man claims a title and trust and whatnot. The title, the name, the father's name, characters. Why don't you turn over a new page? Leaves and pages, pages and leaves. Character, always a right character. David, have you met our Dave? Look at, he's a unique character. Characters, status, style, capacity, goes into the Oxford, water, bull. Wow. Just that bit there, from spine to the paper, to the legal, to the lawful, to the and the debased language that we have. Then we'll go Christmas tree. Pine tree, typically a pine tree. What do we put? Presents at the bottom of the pine tree. What goes on top of that pine tree? It goes a star. Look at the body, look at the hair, look at him smiling. I like it. He's there. Supplementary, I just gave a little splashdown with that. You mentioned sin without. Yeah, I get that. I like that. I've not so much noticed that myself, but I see that. SIN, sine wave in. Yeah, sinister. And we said syntax, grammar. It's SYN, so the spelling, like what Santos was on about with the language and the PH, where we've got Poseidon and so forth in with that. So moon. I was looking at the word moon, and mon is money, monarchy. And that was to tie in with the pyramid, the dollar bill, in God we trust, and so forth. The state there. I'll yield and let you comment. How do you like them apples?
Oh, that's brilliant. And again, you do such a great job. Josh does such a great job of explaining that, and it is very important for people to understand. What they're always doing is giving us the absolute symbolic truth of God's creation. They always are, but they don't explain anything. We have to figure this shit out for ourselves, watching The Simpsons and eating Doritos. I mean, it's virtually impossible to be able to do so.
Doritos, they're bad for you.
Oh, in these fallen states, how are we going to figure any of this stuff out? I mean, for me, from being a kid, Colleen, is the exact same thing. I'm sure it is with you and Karen as well, that there was just something inside of us that refused to let us be slaves. Even when we were fallen, there was something nagging at us all the time. And if you don't have that, then you're lost, because how are you going to figure this stuff out? And again, it's there in plain sight, like with the moonarchies and the Mooney. I mean, Mooney is absolutely a brilliant analogy for us being lost and trapped within the carnal world, right? We're lunatics. We're absolutely lunatics, because we spend our entire existences chasing after a completely fake creation called Mooney, just chasing after the moon goddess sin, instead of ascending within ourselves, always without instead of within. And again, the brilliance of the moonarchies, instead of what they truly are. All the ancients, all the people who were the shamans, all the people who were the kings and queens within groups, within collections, within various forms of society, these were earned. These are people that spent their lives learning and teaching within these special schools, at seminaries, so that we know what to do with our semen. Santos and I did an entire podcast on that today, and I'm going to get that out as soon as I can. And that's part of the show that I'm going to do with you, David, on Saturday. is working in the
Oh yeah,
internal
Saturday.
ejaculation and this societal allegory towards nuclear weapons. And that's what they've done. There's no such thing as subatomic particles.
Hi.
He did. It's now he's muted. James, you've muted now. The mic's just said muted. Look, now it's off. That's good. Hello.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Hi.
Hi, James.
Hi. I recognise your face. I've seen you on videos somewhere across YouTube.
Just not to be rude, but I have a little bit before I forget to add to what Charlie. Maybe he'll like these. James, hello, brother. Good to meet you.
Hi.
I am.
Yeah.
I'm called David. I'm a little bit of a indigo child or something. Their numbers and letters are speaking to me.
Fantastic.
Yeah, we're going to give you some. This is on back of what Charlie's said and what Santos is already established, and on what I'm following and building on is the building blocks of some kind of mathematical, spatial frequency based language is emerging here, and we've got this measure how we tabulate the world around us. You know, it's an important step how we counter and measure things. You know, as Charlie said earlier in a roundabout way, this is what sparks the thought here that we know that it takes 60 seconds to make a minute, and 60 of these minutes to make an hour. And of course, this is the unit by which we divide the days and the Horus, the hours, you know, months, years, decades, and so on, decading. Interesting. Speaking of 60 then, if I'm, can I take a moment to notice that all geometry, whether it is, and this is the 9 and the divineness, whether it's 2 or 3 dimensional, I see it for my discovery is deriving from base 60 Summa, well, mathematics that provide a foundation of 360. I'll leave the pyramid out and that maths because that's a bit too much now, but 360-degree circle, which in turn provides us with the angles and formulas. Charlie, it's you that's brought this to my mind for creating virtually every shape that I could see known to consciousness, the tesseract and the tetragrammaton. So if I just tell you that I've looked at many cultures from around the world, my family, Italy, you know, everywhere, all ancients and how they've counted and grouped things, because that's what I do with my mind. OCD spectrum, unique, I'll say, and we'll leave it there. So 12 eggs in a dozen, 12 months in a year, the 12 disc ipples, 12 inches in a foot, 12 signs of the zodiac, etc. You know, mythical gods. The number 12 is around in stories, the hero's journey, as I think we're all on this call here. I would say, if we, you know, we're on that journey, and we revert back to a base 60 units of miles or minutes or geometric, you know, types of degrees. So I see this 1260 as a DJ. I use the 1210. Okay, that's very close to the 1260. It's only 50 off, but I thought, okay, I've gone back a lot of time, 6,000 years, and the ancient Sumer Mesopotamia culture is where I found, and Santos, others have helped me find this. Not just, you know, it's not new. 1260 based maths comes from a counting system, and it seems that here we go, the language and the involved counting of the knuckles of the 4, you know, long fingers on one hand, and then multiplying by the 5 digits on the other hand, you get a maximum knuckle of 12 times 5 fingers, which of course total 60. And these are the cosmic jumps in language and maths that Santos, Charlie, we're going to find out in this age that we're on now, that the Sumerians, though, you know, the sky gods and visitors, archangels, Anunnaki, yeah, we're going to get this. This is what this hangout and chat was about. But all that time ago, you can't argue that this, you know, it's in history, it's there. I haven't made it up. The Greek islands and Pythagoras school, mathematics, for what is it, philosophy, geometry. And I found some things about the fifths with Pythagoras mathematics and the notes and what we can do with notes and healing and resonance to do with future maths. And to wrap it up, there's a 4-3-2 cycle in that I'm on about, that's with healing, where you have 2 tuning forks, and I found some scientific tests that may allow us to heal cells due to their resonant you know, non-linear. I'll keep it simple, but it's quite amazing. And I've found the interior angles for like the Pentagon, sorry, you know, the office of the government have a pentagon, and these angles have got maths and power in them, coming up to like 180, 360, 540. They always add up to 9, fam. And these numbers are scaring me a little bit. Not scary, but I'm finding a language. And Santos knows about the wobble. No, Charlie mentioned the wobble, and that's 25,920 years to complete, roughly. Don't quote me. Axes and tilting and 12 months and 2160 years to complete. I'm going to stop here, but I've got loads of this stuff to talk to you about, and you know, yield. But that was fantastic. Thank you, Charlie, for that.
Well,
yeah,
that was awesome, David. That's fantastic. And again, don't ever doubt, no one ever doubt that we're on a hero's journey. Like I said, once we have fallen from our state of grace, from that singularity in the metaphysical realm of pure consciousness with God, and we landed in this earthly creation of duality, as above, so below, and everything is a polarity, then it's the hero's journey against all odds to get back. And we'll never get back to where we were. What's that singularity was a one-off, and we tasted from the apple of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and here we are. But we can make it better, and the better is combining two worlds as one, and that is the basis to every single major religion or philosophy that exists from Zoroaster on. It is what Confucius talked about. It is what Lao Tzu and Taoism was all about. It's what the philosophy of Tai Chi is all about, Zoroastrianism, Buddhism, Hinduism, Krishna, the Egyptians, again, you know, Muhammad and the Nation of Islam. Everything is about this combining of two worlds into one, complete balance and harmony, homeostasis between two worlds. And you talk about the hero's journey. Think about this: the very nature of the sun in the sky. We've all seen it. The sine wave path of the sun through in just one solar year through the constellations, and as it works its way back, it creates the beautiful eternal 8. And when you look at, we were talking just a little earlier about the raising the spine, and the S being the sine wave, and then the pine tree, and the Kundalini magnetic energy having to rise up. Well, think about it. This sine wave that rises back up the pine tree, it's going through our endocrine system, and it is going through and past 12 major organs of the endocrine system as it completes its journey up. So everything that we see, and everything that you're talking, David, as well, in terms of Pythagorean mathematics, and every single aspect, science, mathematics, music, everything relates back to human physiology. Everything does. That's why, like you're saying, that 4, 3, 2, which adds up to 9, and that through these principles we can find powerful healing methods. Of course we can. Everything is based upon our creation, still, stationary, at the center of all things, protected by a firmament with eternal energy within our electromagnetic ether. We are these chosen creations, and we're here to get things right and to make things right on this journey to ascend up and to the right. And everything along the way, everything, music, science, mathematics, the night sky, astrology, the Holy Land itself, all of our ancient spiritual texts, they're all talking about the same thing, which is us, which is about us from the torso to the crown. That's the story of stories, the highest of highs, the holiest of holies. This is everything is human physiology. And that's why we are so special, instead of just peons that come and go, and it's just a random this, random, it's bullshit. We're special beyond belief, and everything is talking about us and our journey our journey to get it right, up and to the right. So I'll yield back to you guys and love to hear your thoughts.
Well, I'm building a train at the moment. It's on the right track.
I like it.
The SUMA system 1260. 5 is the third number you want for that, because 5 12s are 60. But we should have 360 senses if you want all-round vision.
Exactly.
It's not just people in Australia who are upside down. Everybody's upside down. The only ones that are actually the right way up are bats. Because everybody else has got bats in the belfry. I mean, if you want to find a way to paradise, you need to get 2 dice. You need to roll 2 6s to start. I'll give you the third one. There's so many people waiting for a second coming. It just depends which head they want it to come out of. It can be done in the mind, or it can be done physically. I'm going to lay claim to 9/11 because nobody else is. So I'll happily take that, because that's a message, and it's in plain sight. It's a warning to mankind. We're facing a grand solar minimum. Everything is flipped over. Everything is in the reverse. Black is white and white is black. Which way's north? Well, that's up. North is up, but it's actually down, because your soul, 2 of your souls are in contact with Earth. Just look at the trees. They grow towards the light, but they're rooted in Earth. And at the moment, they're saying, what the hell's going on? They're talking. Trees work on tension. Even as timber, they still hold water, and water holds memory. It's the 3D version of spirit. Everything is sort of the wrong way around. I mean, I've said it before, I'm fed up of saying it. I mean, Jack put it across, but there are a few good men. He said, you want the truth, you can't handle the truth. There's very few people in this world who will face their Medusa. It's all about the reflection. If they don't embrace their whole self, it's as the Hawkwind song, which one is it? Spirit of the Age, I think it is. I'm just trying to think how the lyrics go on that. Over the wings of anything but a battery hen. If you embrace every fault that is something special of your own, not see it as a negative, see it as a positive. People are doing it the wrong way around. They're focusing on what they've still got to do. They're forgetting how far they've come. 13 is the number you want, because it's 12 in 1. That makes 13.
Exactly.
The trouble is, people are looking in all the wrong places. Israel, Israel. They're looking at the wrong one. It is what it is. It's ISIS. I am what I am. People say to me, who are you? I said, that's the wrong question. I'm not a doctor. That's a Time Lord. Time is Satan, is Saturn, is Kronos. I don't know. The trouble is, there is a thing called a missing link, and it's the third eye. It's the right hemisphere and the right brain, left brain. People are not fusing the two together again. It's not the physical transgender creating half man, half woman. It is embracing the divine feminine with the divine masculine, the man speaking for the woman speaking for the man, understanding both sides, getting the balance. Then you take the tilt of the earth away. That's what the tilt of the earth is. It's the imbalance with this criminal patriarch system. If people can't see,
Exactly right.
People can't see. It might be Christmas, but it's still a mass, and it's in the time with the least light. But they're April Fools.
Hello there, James. You've said quite a lot there. You remind me of, if I may just give you a psycho evaluation then as a first time meeting, and albeit virtually, phonically and sonically like this. And there's a comedian I like called Tim Vine, I think it is. There's a Jeremy Vine, I think it's his brother that does the stand up there. And there's also a man, I forget, he has a piano, a bit like Tim Vine, and he does the. I think you'd be. I'm just seeing you like on some kind of stage. Apollo or something presenting. I've always wanted to find someone who had a comical Like you delivered that as if it was a stand-up at the Apollo. I'll say my impressions of you there. You've got a brain that sends sentences into the realm like malicious and soldiers into battle. 9/11, plain sight, very controversial. Did you spell that PLAIN or PLANE? Planes, the planes of existence, the planes of inertia is what Santos is looking at with the Hyperborea and the that kind of energy is there. The Indians lived on the Great Plains. The plains are written many times, and I just thought that was good. I like that. It's not an aeroglobe, is it? It's an aeroplane. Again, just play on words there. You said site. I just thought as a site, building site, and we've got site of sight, sword of omen, site upside down. I believe this system was built like that for us to meddle our way out of the ones. It may be a testing ground, who knows, a building ground of something for another time. But if we carry on and you carry on like you are, then I've no doubt that you'll turn it the right way round. And what is ISIS? Brother Smithy said that quite a lot. We employ and agree with that. That was a good. I echo that. The sexual gender that you touched upon at the latter part. You see, I was just struggling to keep note of what to say. I like that as well. We're seeing a gender fluid type of motion where boys want to be girls, girls want to be boys. Freedom of choice. You can choose, to change your sexuality, but you can't really choose much else in this realm. If you try and choose life and freedom and so forth, as we call it, you soon get sent back to sweat equity land. But if you'd like to change your body and chop it up and whatever, then that can be done quite easily and no problem. From the age of 2, I hear, I'm joking, but at a very young age where you don't know yourself, you think, what are they doing? So mixing us up there. That was an excellent meeting, and I'll yield. Thank you, brother.
It is. It is wrong. It was said earlier, well, the clues are in the words. Think of the film The Cube. As those people go through from room to room, the room that they've left is the past. It's the jester day, and it is the jester playing the joke because it is changing back history. But if you're looking forward, you're going to find 2 more row, and you will continue to row in a sea of lies. There are many roads that lead to Rome, and most of them do, but there's only one road to paradise, and there's only one thing to overcome, and it's empowering, because once you overcome that fear, there is nothing that can hurt you, and that is this illusion of death, because we are not physical. That is just the vessel that we're in. We're not even here. People are in 2 days. They are in a daze. They are in a subconscious daze, and they are in a conscious daze, because when you're dreaming, it can seem very real. You can wake up with your heart beating, and you can wake up in a sweat if it's a nightmare. And it can seem very real, but so can this one. They haven't got a point of reference because they're not master of the ruler. They are without moral compass. A lot of them have Baal morals, which is a royal residence called Balmoral, because they are wind saws. The eagle claws.
Oh, here we go. Carry on. I like this.
Well, you said I remind you of an actor. Well, the world is a stage, and I can play any part you want me to play. I have played many parts. It's no word of a lie. I was in Friday the 13th, parts 1, 2, and 3. But it's the spelling. Most people are going to hear F-R-I. I'm spelling it F-R-Y on my own channel.
Play on that. Said it's the sonics and the phonics there with the. I like that. Like the syntax, S-Y-N, S-I-N, sin. And you just reminded me, I didn't comment north. I have 2 norths now. I've been looking at the ever-changing, geocentric north here, with the magnetic north moving around like a ping pong ball sometimes, some centuries, decades, as we notice these weird things happening. And then we have Santos has taught me there's a true north in the zodiac, and the zodiac north, that, and that I now follow a stationary north of which is fixed, and I'm homing in onto a pathway that's become straight and narrow and not so much winding like the snake that Charlie said. I'm still on that growth. I haven't got my inner peace and attainment. I'm on the journey, but the north of the sky, brothers, is where I'm at now.
Well, I could shake a spear, but that type of acting I don't do very often, because Shakespeare, I just smell bacon. A France
Charlie, no.
cheese.
Stop him. Stop it now. Charlie, step in. Somebody. Oh, bless you.
Yeah, well, Shakespeare was a Gnostic for sure. I mean, all of these deep sacred truths are presented in every single one of his plays and soliloquies. They're all there. They're all there. It's teaching this message. And once again, the only thing that's missing is some kind of handbook to be able to explain it. So as we were talking before, once you leave your little communities, and every community had somebody who was interested in the stars, somebody who looked up, and they started to piece things together. And these were known in all of these little tribal gatherings and communities. They were just known as the wise men, and they became the shaman. And these are always the people that connect to the ground nature by looking up to the stars sky. So again, that's just an allegory, an analogy for right brain, left brain, ascending up to the Father in our spiritual mind, the right brain, and building strong, deep roots down into the earth via the sacred feminine on the physical plane. So again, it's always this harmony and this balance between two worlds. Like Santos points out, I was going to say something when Santos was talking, but I thought the better of it. But when he's talking about the torus field, and in the center of the torus field is the hourglass, the horus, the hyperbola. Again, bowl is tree of life. And when you look at the torus field, what you're looking at is the number 18. So you're seeing the eternal 8, and in between the eternal 8 is the sword of justice, of truth, of light, the way spine, the stairway to heaven. And 18 is chi, which is everything within God's creation, the electromagnetic ether. And 1 + 8 is 9, which is our purpose to once again take the hero's journey and to achieve God consciousness again. And so everywhere you look, every play of Shakespeare, everything that you see, there's nothing new under the sun. They're always simply just reinventing what has already been created before us, and it came from the night sky, and they're turning it into these clever stories and sometimes brilliant pieces of art. And they're always doing the same thing. They're encoding or decoding human physiology. That's what this is all about. And the only reason we don't know it is because we live in big societies where we send our kids off to government-run schools where they just distract, teach you the worst possible habits in the world, and allow bullies to run the system from within and without, instead of little communities where we embrace the wise men, the shaman, who look up at the stars and dig their roots deep into the earth and synthesize or harmonize these two worlds into one with these commonsensical, wise teachings. And they all relate back to the teachings of Zoroaster, and that's what built all of the Western monolithic religions. It's all based on that, and all Zoroaster did is decode the night sky. So
Charlie,
it's possible to do.
I'm trying to be polite here. I'm just so tired, and I've not got my pen with me now. But Magi, the three men, the wise men, I can't even say it.
Exactly.
The Magi, magicians, the magistrates, how they've now become the true. Then I hear that and I see it. That's what I said. Something similar earlier, that my brain's saying, please just let me say that. They brought the gifts, the three gifts: gold, frankincense and myrrh. I look at them
Exactly.
as well, and here we are now after that moment, that reset, singularity, and yeah, you've just made me remember, and I'm like, so that's kind of the other name for the following of, and the story, the Bible. I'd just like to say as well, I view it as a story. I've done a lot of research and I've looked at, I can't wait to talk to you separately Saturday and so forth onwards. But yeah, it's and we're on a journey of our own there. The Magi is now, we are the Magi, I would like to think now. Similar.
Well, and the other cool aspect, I'll just quickly interject before you guys jump back in, is this: the gift of the Magi is that they're inside of us. They were allegorized in the Bible from without, but they exist within. And essentially, what the three Magi from the east are: the pineal gland, the pituitary gland, and the hypothalamus. And these three God's glands within the third ventricle of the brain, the seat of our soul, they control our entire existence in these days. And they do, physically and metaphysically, they control everything. And the Magi, the three wise men from the east, the pineal, pituitary, and hypothalamus, they are the ones that are secreting the sacred secretions of melatonin, serotonin, and dopamine. And it is the combination of those three things in copious amounts within these supposedly physical forms that allow us to see the light. They allow us to clear the obstacles in our path, because everything becomes clear and obvious before us. Their clarity, they open the road or the path before us that we see is actually straight and narrow, and it leads to the light. Always it does. And that's the Magi from within. And what do we do to achieve copious amounts of melatonin, serotonin, and dopamine within us? Access to sunlight, consuming chlorophyll, which is from the process of photosynthesis, where plants take sunlight and turn it into a food, and the entire earth feeds itself from this miraculous process. It is, again, alkalinity in every form, alkalinity of thoughts, alkalinity of food. And when we do these things, the wise men give, and they give, and they give, and they give, and we get wise because we have copious amounts of common sense. And that is this melatonin, serotonin, and dopamine. So I just wanted to share that. The three wise men from the tribe of Zoroaster in the East, bearing gifts. These are the physical gifts that never, ever, ever go away. The pineal gland, the pituitary gland, the sacred masculine, the sacred feminine, and the tomb, the hypothalamus, where the body of Christ is laid for 2.5 days before it rises and meets God at the right-hand side in heaven upon earth. So it's incredible stuff, guys. Just it makes all of this worthwhile, and it makes life worth living, and it's self-empowering. And what we have to do is get away from these fucking evil cities and just get back to little communities. And that's through Karen. That's what we're building here. And I'm just so appreciative to start to rebuild my life through these new friends and these wonderful people who see the light, who see the way, and that's all they're interested in is being passionate about this way. So I'll yield back over to you guys.
James, if I may just answer Charlie, then I'll let you jump in there, because I'm really tired and I'm going out for a cigarette. But well, yes, get in. Zoroastrianism, I struggle with that. First point, pre-Christian gnosis, antiquities, scholars have done many works on that. Excellent point to know, and backs up what we've said. We can expand upon that later, but just to confirm, Zoroastrianism was before zero. It was BC, wasn't it? It was many, many eons, if you like, a legacy before the JC character. And then there was another thing that you mentioned that I was gonna. It's gone though because I'm tired. So I'll leave it at that. Yeah, I'm struggling there. I'll let James interject and say something if he's got anything. Yeah.
Because BC era is actually very, very short. It's a kettle click away, because that's before coffee. As I'm concerned, and B is before coffee. The answer is it's the 3 is represent now. Right, how's that? Is that better?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, much better.
The answer is just pie in the sky. When you understand that 3 is the representation of divine feminine, 4 is divine masculine, the point of 3 and 4 is 1, 3.14, which is pi. It's mathematically encoded. I understand earlier you were talking about Tartaria. Has anybody found a Tartarian toilet yet?
Oh
That's
God,
the question. The reason you won't find a toilet is because Tartaria, they knew they did live on sunlight. They didn't. It was like Sumer, but we're around to this silly season. You get bombarded with all the tinsel and the adverts because they're making everybody into a consumer, because it is a big con. That's the wrong type of gifts. This comes from someone who has a unrequited wish for a tower crane as a boy and never got one. But I can see the crux of it all. The crux is I see fiction, crucifixion, because it's there in plain sight. If you look at the figure nailed to the cross, it's a man that's nailed. He's dead. It's a death cult. But if you look at the shape, he's asking why, because when you are asking, you are as king, and it's a quest eye on, because it's the third eye on. It's a quest, and we get questioned from that. But that's why we should not accept, because it's a deception, because you've got AC and DC there. There's an electrical clue for a start. We are being assaulted continuously, alchemically, spiritually. People need to face up to the reality, face their Medusa, that we've all been fooled at one time or another. And most people, if you mention things that doesn't fit the official narrative, they will react angrily, and they express it outward instead of inward, because they don't like to think that they've been fooled, because they don't see it. They're not listening with the right ears. They're not seeing with the right eyes.
Yep.
There's 4 hemispheres to the brain. It's the symbol of Earth, which has been corrupted into the Bayer symbol, because you've got Ba and Ray, and in between is the Y. There's the male chromosome, because it's a patriarch system. The Bayer is the Bauer, is the Bayer, which is now a Rothschild, a red shield. But they're only part of it. But this all operates on deceptions. The Dracula films are by far the best example to show everybody all the servants of the Prince of Darkness. He doesn't come and save them when they are no longer of any use. So all these politicians, all these people who've chosen this illusory fake wealth, and they've sold out, their cells are out, they're inside out, they're chasing it. And are they happy with their lot? Because if they're happy with their lot, then they're the bitch that's been petrified. They're Lot's wife.
James,
yeah.
May I just say, yes, vampires then, much like the crowns and the legal contract law that we're assumed and presumed into, that's like the vampiristic energy that we see for number one. We've done a publication recently that we're distributing for free, called it was called The Shadow Contracts versus Fear and Misery, much like the vampiristic energies that we disconnect from the source energy. It was a telephone chat between me and my website engineer that we often, we chat like brothers, and not just have calls about the .com. We have built a brotherhood up, a friendship, a kingsman-like status there, and kin G men, and we was chatting about this energy, the vampires, and I didn't put in that publication, but like a vampire knocking on the door to come in to the home, this fable goes there, then the contracts, you have to consent and submit, give away your rights. They don't take the rights, they trick them, they're deceived, deceptive, non-disclosed, foreign language, legalese. It looks like English, it spells like English, it sounds like English, but it's another language. If you got presented with Chinese, you would have a great difficulty managing your case if it was Chinese you had to use. But as it's legalese, and this language, this venom, this usurpation, subjugation, obfuscation, in many ways cowardly and vampiristic, we have to let them in. And the comparable is then, sorry, I just thought that was relevant to, that's excellent way of, I can now write into that publication and improve it. And if you two are interested, and any of the fam that are on here, and I will give away our publications on Facebook. I'm not here to promote myself or anything, but there are avenues to get stuff, and I'd like to work with others going forward. And you seem like a very good intellectual mind there, James. I'm very grateful to have met you. I yield.
Thank you, and I'm thank you, Karen, for inviting us on. It's fantastic to meet. Well, I like to live in the land of the living, not the dead. There's plenty of zombies out there. They're all looking in their scrying mirrors, their mobile phones. Even that follows. They're always telling you a half truth. So in the beginning, there was darkness. Let there be light. Well, just look what happens with those mobile phones or any electrics, because it's the opposite of the magnetism in the middle, the driving force of the electric and the dielectric. Oh, keep dog. People go into a court and they're not looking at what's in front of them. You've got to judge, what's he got on his head? That's a wolf in sheep's clothing. And then they give you a book, and what does it say in that book? It says there's only one judge. And then they're asked if they understand, and they give away their power. As soon as they say they understand, they are standing under the authority of that court.
You consent, you give it away. It's not taken. They give you a choice, and it's free will. It's deceptive. It's nasty. It's not good. I don't support it. I'm just saying that this is what it is. And this is what I forgot that I need to put in. Sorry to be rude, Charlie. You was on about magi. Let's go phonically and sonically then. MAGEYE, magnetic eye, mag-eye, and that was just something to add on to as you were speaking about the magi and the powers and the way that it was. Just to add that, but I'm very tired. I'd like to continue this for hours, but I'll just let you know that I am struggling, boys, and I'm looking forward to chatting with you on Saturday, Charlie. If you mentioned something about that there, if you want to promote that or anything, and that would be good. I don't know when this video is going out, but I'm going to yield again. Thank you, boys.
Oh yeah, again, anytime, all the time, because there are so few people that are truly awake, and again, to be awake, you have to see things holistically, because the truth is one thing, and the truth is holistic. It's not bits and pieces. And what do we find within the truth community? It is 99.9% filled with people that are selling a sliver or a fragment of the truth, and they're not helping anybody. They're getting subscribers, they're getting followers, they're getting donations, however it works. But they're not helping people.
Material gain. They're getting material gain. That's what they're getting. I've noticed lots of material wealth and gain is what I see, mate.
Yeah, and I'm only interested, like David is. I'm only interested in serving God's creation. That's why we run, the Animal Rescue Sanctuary here. We're in it to help others, and I can only help anyone else if I first help myself. And this goes back to what was said earlier, and that is, again, the only way that we're ever going to ascend or grow in any fashion is to look in the mirror. We absolutely have to look in the mirror and face our own demons. And when we take responsibility for who we are, and then get serious about who we want to be, then change will happen in our lives. Yeah, and they're never congruent. They're never connected. It's always just a hosh posh mishmash and a complete clusterfuck. And what we need to do, yeah, we just need to become one. And once we become one and whole in ourselves, then we can begin to help others. And that's why I'm here. That's why all four of us now. That's why all four of us are here, because we know some things that are holistically true, and we're trying to help. Hi, Patricia. Five of us. Yes. Much love to you, Patricia.
I'm here. Sorry,
Hey.
my computer's having a coma attack. Well, as usual, it's fantastic. And also, like I've said before, it goes over my head a little bit, but I have got something from it. Whether I retain that knowledge or not is a different matter. But yeah, it, as always, fantastic.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to be quite graphic. Right, the letter M, right? Picture a woman in front of you and she lays down with her knees up. You've got the letter M there. That's divine feminine. The A is the representing the divine masculine. It's the alpha, like the alpha male. It's also the pyramid with the top part. That's why you've got the line on it. Because remember, this is the language of darkness. These are all glyphs, all these letters. So the M and the A together is divine feminine, divine masculine. Add to that a G, which is Gaia. You've got now bag.
Oh, here we go. I see what you're doing.
So what you're looking for is a magnetism from within, right? Because otherwise we're in a worldwide web of deceit and we drown in a sea of lies. You need to walk above the waters of Admiralty law. And
exactly.
We need a visual. We need Josh. Not that I'm ordering, but imagine Josh with the whiteboard and James with the models and like a game of I don't know, some kind of new game that we could make there. That's truly, I saw that in my mind. I thought, where are we going here? And when you did MAG and Mother Alpha G, God, yes, Mother. That's brilliant. I can't wait to have more chats with the.
Yeah. Hey, and guys, and remember, our true name is I am.
Yeah.
I am. Because I exist because of the A and the M. I am.
Calling. Yeah, I answer to a calling. Yeah, I am. So therefore, I think. Therefore, I am.
It's all there in plain sight for us. You just have to have all of your eyes open.
Have we got any links for Charlie? I know I have and stuff I can share on Facebook, but is there anything you want to share, Charlie, for what you're doing with the animals and stuff like that? Is there anything you can share and promote that we can help with, that you need with? I'll be happy to help. I'm sure others will.
Well, we always attach it in each of our podcasts at the end. If anyone wants to help out, that would be great. The 45 animals and they eat a ton. So it's overwhelming and it's a lot of work and stuff, but that's okay. That's why we exist, is to serve God's creation in humility. The penitent man is the only one who can make it all the way through the path that is straight and narrow. And remember, that's the spine. Once you get through the spine, going through the CSF, you have to cross the blood-brain barrier. And the only way to do that is through the fourth ventricle. And the fourth ventricle is always associated with the eastern gate of ancient Jerusalem. And that is the gate of the eye of the needle. And the only way to enter through the gate of the eye of the needle is to be penitent. And that's where the camel had to remove his load and had to get down upon its knees to make it through. And it's easier to get a camel in through the eye of a needle than it is a rich man into heaven. And that is because is penitent, and the rich man is a fucking pathetic liar and joke.
You are a pure delight. You are such a breath of fresh air and such a delight. I love that.
Wow. So are you and James and Karen and Patricia and Santos and Josh, and it's family, and that's what we're looking to build here is real family. real family, not the ones we were born with, but the ones that we gravitate and attract, magnetize to our existence.
Yes, I echo that.
So I'm very excited for our chat on Saturday, because again, on the chat that we did, an emergency chat with Santos today, because I decoded just in a meditation, it came to me that the nuclear hoax, this atomic bomb nuclear hoax, these invisible subatomic particles, trust us, they're there, that it's all an allegory for sacred sex and for the controlling the spasm and the internal ejaculation. And that is the clean, quiet nuclear power plant that produces, like I said, eternal, clean, quiet energy always. Or when you let this atomic power out there in the form of a bomb, it destroys everything, creates a mushroom cloud that then creates a shroud that wraps itself around the earth and blocks out the sun for 96 years, and everything will die. It's an allegory for the most powerful force that exists in human physiology, and that's the orgasm. And the orgasm must be controlled. We must be the controllers of our reality. And that is the most goddamn awesome force that exists upon this plane, is the human orgasm. That's the show we did with Santos today. And I said my part and he just ran with it. And it was just an incredible show. And that's what we're going to be talking about on Saturday. And I'm very excited to get your take on everything with it as well. So again, I'll just finish by saying, as James so perfectly and beautifully said throughout his time here, was the truth is in plain sight. They put it out there because that's what is. That's God's creation, is what is, and that's what they share. There's just no rule book or manifest to refer to be able to explain it. And if you don't understand it, it just gets lost. And we're lost at sea, adrift at sea.
Well, man has festered. This is the problem. The demonic are doing exactly what they're meant to do. They're serving, but just like in a restaurant, when the waiter comes up, you get a menu, and I don't like anything on the menu of what they're serving. So I'm not eating in that restaurant anymore. I refuse to sit at that table.
And you only get good service from the waiter if he gets the sense that you're going to give a good tip as well.
Yeah. The problem is most people are physically, they're trying to herd people into cities. Mentally, they are putting people through an education cyst stem. It's a stem of a cyst. And then you can go on to a university and you can get degrees of stupidity. And then you end up coming out with a Dead Sea Scroll wearing a mortarboard on your head. And of course, the black cape, same as the judge. What we need is a core of us, a chorus. When we're all singing the same song, we are the core, right in the middle of that magnet, that magnetic hourglass. But I mean, they've twisted that. I mean, look at what they've done throughout, especially the sort of visual age. I mean, they say about women having the perfect hourglass figure. That's not. They always take an idea and twist it and turn it into something else.
Exactly.
The hourglass is from the middle of the magnet. It's the Magdalene. It's from within. Everything is within Earth as well. I mean, there's a lot of people who are more stupid than dogs, because most dogs, you throw a ball, they know to bring it back and they let go of the ball. They don't cling on to it because they just cover it in saliva.
Yeah, and it doesn't stick to the ball either.
No.
Sit, boo boo, sit. Yes, this has been an incredible beginning. Like, we can call this an epilogue, if you like, to the future castings. Brother B Santos there has said that he's happy to come back when he's available, and if we can maybe collect Josh and then go through to the what we'd like to talk about, Messiah Jesus, You know, separately to, there's a lot going on here. I have an agenda, a wholesome, nice agenda, a light contract agenda where we'll all benefit by contemplating the new digital Aquarius age that we're in. I feel, even though I'm like a controller of information, a data controller of what I do, that like you do, you all are the same. You can relate to this. We need now to get together again and review. Let's pause the re-researching and the rediscoveries of old things, and just have a chat about who and what we where we are, and this consciousness. 100th monkey principle is what comes to mind here. I still can't get that. And quantum, you've touched on it. It's there, ethereal, ether, heart. So if we can look at the Christ-like consciousness in this time, political time, is a lot, you know, being lots of I don't know, news, north, east, west, south, stories going off. Remember the stories part, but distraction. But it is, some of it is real. It is involving the princes and the monarchies and the banks, and you know, it's bigger times. I don't know if that's a distractor, sort of, you know, scare us. I have edged away from Tartaria, not because of any other reason than I'm overloaded with information. And to touch upon that tonight randomly, as if 8,000 years of continuum wasn't enough, we got that put into the mix, and we've handled it all well. We're on task and direction for, you know, as a family unit. Then James has just joined, as far as I'm concerned, the family. And what an introduction you've made, brother. I'm still reveling in some of your comments, and you've truly lightened it up. That was an excellent end from brother there. Thank you all. I'm very grateful. I don't feel you know, too, you know, tired now. I've woken up. You've excited me, but let me tell you, I was dog tired. And I yield. Much love to you all. Thank you.
Yeah, on behalf of Karen, because I don't think you can hear her at the minute, but just thank you all for coming. It's been fantastic as always, and just want to say we love you guys. Love everybody that's watching and listening, and hope to do it again soon. So for me and Karen, we love you all. Bye.
Love you all too. It's been fantastic.
See you guys. Love to all. Wonderful to meet you, James. David, love you. See you
And you.
Saturday.
See ya. Thank you.
Quick before she cuts you off. I love you all. Quick before she cuts you off.